Hello, friends. Welcome to Coding Garden with CJ. Thank you very much, Anestra, for that 2-month resub. Very much appreciated. Everyone, let me know if you can hear me okay. I'm using RTX voice today, so I may need to adjust things. Actually, is that peaking? Test, 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 test. Test, test, test. How's that? Welcome, everyone. Hello. So today is, it should sound different, but it just should not sound that bad. And hopefully it's not peaking anymore. Yes. Okay, so today is a Vue.js Q&A, meaning you can ask me anything about Vue.js. And thank you very much, Molgort, for the 2-month resub. Okay, thank you, Revive Newt. Yes, you can chat here. You're welcome. You're very welcome to chat here. Everybody's welcome to chat here. As long as you're nice. You got to be nice and appropriate. Coding Garden. Wait, what? They should show separately? Oh, instead of at the same time? I'm about that. Hey, procrastinating with CJ. Thank you for the Twitch Prime resub. Some things happen. Lots of things happen. Unfair, thank you for that 2-month resub. Cheyenne, thank you for the 4-month resub, who says, thanks for doing such great streams. I learned a lot from you. Nice. Yeah, and procrastinating with CJ, we plan to do the inventory app on Saturday. That's the plan, anyways. Maybe I might take a break and not stream this weekend. We'll see. However, if you have a question, you can ask it in the chat. So in the chat, if you type !ask followed by that question, I will try to answer it. Now, today, hey, Fishy Coding, Twitch Prime resub, 3 months. Thank you very much, Fishy Coding. It's been 3 months already, but the questions today should be focused on Vue.js. If you ask things that are not about Vue.js, it's very likely that we won't get to those questions. So we're going to only be answering questions about Vue.js. And yeah, this could be even like the first question I ask answer is why do I prefer Vue over React? Because I do. That's a thing. Cool. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the show. I'm currently premiering an archived live stream on YouTube right now, which is why I just clicked over to that. Hey, we're the hype train. How'd this happen? How'd we get here? Right. Cool. All right, we got some follows. Let's welcome all the newbies to the Coding Garden. Hustle Wussle, thanks for being here. Hey, Total Monkey, thank you for the bits. Raphael, thank you for following. Oroji, thanks for the follow. Cleany Teeth, thank you for following. And Nishan Taspakota, thank you for the follow. Vue is great. I agree, Faraday. Vue is very great. Shout out to Faraday. And actually, hey, Revive New. Why you do that? Thank you, Revive New. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your generosity. Steve with the 10 bits, you're a lovely, groomed, and handsome man. Well, thank you very much. Fishes with the 100 bits who says, this place is crazy. This place is crazy. Yeah, I absolutely love the Composition API. First of all, check out Faraday Academy. She streams here on Twitch and also has a YouTube channel. Julian, thank you for the 50 bits. Rambish, thank you for the... No. Mr. Disagree. Mr. Disagree, thank you for the gifted sub. I need water. Yeah, I just added the today section this morning, so that way we can differentiate between today's questions and all 352 past questions. But yes, about the Composition API, I really like it. And this is like the newness in Vue.js 3. So Vue.js 3.0 is currently in release candidate. But you can use the Composition API in Vue 2 today. We can show some examples with it, but it's one of my favorite things about the new Vue. I'm eating a granola bar and it didn't go down quite right. Okay, I'm doing better. Thank you all for the supports. Yeah, so if you want to ask just like normal, if you want to ask a question, do this, and if it was asked today, it will show up in the today section. You don't have to do anything special. So in the chat, !ask followed by your question. You can also upvote other people's questions. So if you do !upvote followed by the number that you see on the left-hand side, that will upvote the question as well. And so here's the thing, we already have 20 questions. I highly recommend that you upvote someone else's questions, because at this point it's very likely that I'm not going to get to your question because 22 questions have already been asked. So if you go to vox.coding.garden, you can find a question that you like. Thank you very much, the Shivas, for the gifted sub. Oh yeah, and thank you to Mr. Disagree for that gifted sub. I got choked up whenever that happened, but thank you, Mr. Disagree. I appreciate you. Much appreciated. But this is the website you can go to ask questions. Right there. A lot of people did it. All right, everyone, join me in dropping. We're gonna drop some emotes. Yeah, 3-digit questions. I don't know what we're gonna. We've talked about before that we could actually do like month based, because these numbers are getting really big, and I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Oh, you're right. Thank you for reminding me. Oh no, it's paused. Yeah, you cannot redeem code review. Okay, yeah, we're gonna drop. Everyone in the chat, type ! Drop me, and that will drop your avatar. Yeah, you can see people dropping. Look at all those Ohios. This is me. This is my avatar. And if your drop lands in the center, you will get your name on my screen. Look at all the drops. Great drops. Good drop, Karate Wump. Who was that? Who was that? Son! Great job, son. First try. It's gonna be a tiny one. No. Oh wow. Just off to the edge. So the closer you are to the center, the larger your name will be. Yeah, and so there is a 90-second cooldown, so you can only drop once every 90 seconds. That was a great drop. Oh yeah, good job, Benjamin. And also Foxel T. Got some great drops today. Great drops. Yeah. Well, I don't want to clear the questions because we've enacted a thing where I only answer questions for people that are actually here. You can see that if the thing is orange, that means you're here. And if you look at the questions tab, there are a bunch of gray questions, and those people are not in the chat or have not asked a question today. No, I think, okay, I'll let you know right now. You should at least upvote yourself. If you've asked a question, upvote yourself. I don't want to ignore self-upvotes. And drop collisions? This is still the old drop game. We haven't switched over to the new one yet because there's a lot we need to add to it. Okay, let's say hi to everybody. Oh, well, thank you, the one Dov Clint. Let's say hi. Updates. If you say hi, hello, hey, morning, afternoon, howdy, or view. If you say view, actually, no, don't say that because that's going to catch the questions and that'll take us way too long. So just say these things, or if you say hi-yo, I think we have an emote. We have a hi-yo emote. The good taste to not. I'm telling you right now, you should self-upvote. I have RTX voice on right now, so it might sound a little bit different, and my keyboard will probably sound different as well, but it's still the same keyboard. Thank you all for participating in that hype dream. I appreciate you. Thank you for the supports. But also, we've got this really cool emote. I really like it. It's nice. 17 subs, 260 bits. Thank you all for the supports. Let's say thanks to everybody. Let's see. Yeah, Unfair with the 2-month tier 1 sub. Cheyenne with the 4-month tier 1 sub. Anestra with the 2-month tier 2 sub. Molgort with the 2-month resub with Twitch Prime. Thank you very much. And there's Utori. Utori with that Twitch Prime sub. Thank you very much. I was just going to mention, if you haven't heard of Twitch Prime, click that link to learn more. And Procrastinating with CJ with the 3-month Twitch Prime resub. Thank you very much for coming back and clicking the button. Fishy Coding with the 3-month Twitch Prime resub. Turtle Monkey with 100 bits. Revive Newt with the 10 gifted subs. Revive Newt gifted 20 subs last night too. So kind. Too kind. I appreciate you, Revive Newt. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting me, and thank you for supporting the community. Because a lot of people get to use emotes now, and I thank you for that. Steve Bubba with the 10 bits. Fishies with 100 bits. Mr. Disagree with the gifted sub. Thank you, Mr. Disagree. Julian with 50 bits. The She-Boss with that gifted sub. And Utori with the Twitch Prime resub. Thank you all for your kindness and your support. Let's say hi to everybody. We're going back in time. Going back in time 24 minutes ago to say hi. Hello, Fishy Coding. Welcome. What's up, SQL Cordster and Born the Dev and Colenza and Rillum. Thank you for those 100 bits. Ile. Hello. What's up, this code rocks, and Vishal and Marty and Dizzy and Doman and Tai Chi and Unfair and Catherine and Smash Lyrics and Akash and Bishop and Mo Said and Slake and the She-Boss. Good morning. Good morning, funny dude. Good morning, good morning. Casper, good morning. What's up, Mark? And so much Clark. Breakfast time? I'm gonna make breakfast after the stream. Probably gonna make some eggs. I just bought some bacon at the grocery store yesterday. I got some like breakfast potatoes. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Alana, how's it going? What's up, Win320 day? Yeah, I saw your PR. I will definitely take a look at it. And hello, Bear Cool. And T1H2HO, how's it going? What's up, Shines, Love, and Horo, and Lynx, and Fistrand, Bogahay. Bogahay. Ahmed, how's it going? What's up, Monoloto? And Hunter, who says, I'm waiting for your live stream, just like everyone else. Thank you for being here. Bath Bomb! Bath Bomb with the Twitch Prime sub. It reminds me, because I was at Whole Foods yesterday getting groceries, and they had bath bombs. And I almost got a bath bomb, a lavender scented one, but I didn't. But welcome, Bath Bomb. Thank you for being here. Thank you for that Twitch Prime sub. What's up, Karate Wump? And Dev Henrique. Yeah, we're going to talk about Vue today. And Dave, how's it going? What's up, Freaky? Freaky. And yes, sir. And Dev and Amazon and L and Lumicode. Hello, hello. What's up, Lakshman and Fidgies? Well, thank you, Ionio. I hope I don't try to be inspiring. I just be, and I hope that I can. What are the things that I say in the things that I code? I hope that they help you. I hope yes. But cool. What's up, Balinero? Hello. Alka's not actually here. I'm pretty sure Alka's asleep right now. What's up, Kerm? I don't think Alka's here anyways. Prove me wrong, Alka, if you actually are here. Starlord. Hello. Hey, Toasted Jesus. Full month Twitch Prime resub. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Schnappy, how's it going? What's up? Wijdan. Hismai, how's it going? Hello, Momo. And Erzrob. And Ran. And Ikrish Cool. And, who is that? Swapnil. Welcome to the show. What's up, Sanket? And Eternal Dev Coder. And Anestra. And Cushy Mushy. And Cameron Codes. Yeah, RTX voice. It's actually, I mean, it's nice. I think that every now and then it starts to sound weird and washed out. But for the most part, it like removes all external noises. Like, I mean, I was tapping on my desk just now, but I don't think you could hear it very well. I don't know. LJP, what's up? Hello, the Omni King. Modded Technic. And Zune. Oh, thank you, Rima. I like my shirt too. It's a Monarch Butterfly. And hello, Holsty. And Rainy. And Julian, good afternoon. We'll acknowledge all the follows in a second, but Ollie. Hey, thanks for the follow. No, Bully, you did not miss it. We're saying hi right now. Everybody say hi, Bully. We appreciate you. Coding Hi-Yo. Hello. Thanks for being here. For those of you that are new to my overlay, it saves all of the chat messages. So I'm actually 9 minutes behind on chat, and it's currently filtering people that have said hellos and stuff like that. Why doesn't anybody say hello to Bully? You gotta say hi to Bully. Come on. Come on. Help me. Help me. Help. Yes, there we go. Hey, Bully. City Life, how's it going? What's up, R-Cooled and Alex and Adoob and Liquid Oxygen? How's it going? And Anam. You have a good day too. Thank you for being here. Please, oh no, we're not bullying anyone. We're just happy that Bully's here with us. You know? Sharing the love. Anam. Oh, thank you. I hope you have a good day too. What's up, Fight? And Krampus. What's up, Krampus? Mr. Disagree. Hi-yo. Thank you very much for that gifted sub. What's up, Talos Code and Mr. Demon Wolf? Good morning. Hello, Amand. So here's the thing. My air conditioner is on right now. Can you hear it? Because I don't think you can hear it because of RTX voice. Maybe you can. Amand, Twazi, how's it going? What's up, Kurdo? And Apadro and Azamut. Well, thank you. Like my hair too. Can't hear it. That's awesome. What's up, Nick Roy and Cleaning Teeth? Howdy, partner. What's up, GM Austin? And Marcin and Master and Into1 Ziendobry. How's it going? What's up, Plus? And 024MT42. Good morning. Hello, yes, I'm Lisa. Howdy. What's up? Lutetium Vanadium. Mira says, I just created a URL shorter with my friend, and we deployed it just before the stream. Nice! Everyone drop rockets in the chat. If you have a rocket emote, that'd be cool too. But Rockets are typically synonymous with deployment because you're pushing it out to the world, but congrats, Mirus. That's good that you deployed. And hello, Hemi Codes, and Iam, and Yukarai, and Shubham, who says my late night stream was awesome. I couldn't join but watched offline. Well, thank you. Thanks for watching the VOD. It was a fun time. I was hesitant if anybody would even tune in because this is a coding channel. And I'm not the best musician, but I'm glad you liked it. And hello, Thon. Hey, you definitely are following me because this is my channel. You're in my chat. And what's up, Relax? And Master Ali, who says, you say hi to everyone. We try to. We try our best. I mean, it's difficult. There's a lot of people watching, but we try our best. And you see, like, these chats, I actually am sort of missing, so we'll get there. What's up, Pavat? And Mr. Turtle Beach, how's it going? What's up, Jado? And Sledge Dog, who said they really liked the last code review. Nice. I appreciate that. Wygons, how's it going? And hello, Vibracode. And Callum, howdy. What's up, Skaloth? Oh, thank you. Thank you for finding me on YouTube. Well, we must thank the YouTube algorithm for allowing our paths to cross. I don't know. Cheers, everyone. Life Cats, what's up? Hello, Zoltan. And Last Riddler, high energy. Cosmet, I was planning the microservice architecture for my project, building the backend in Node and Java. Should we finalize the complete database schema in the beginning of the project or go with flow and modify as per requirement? I think you should come up with an initial. I realize that I'm answering questions right now. This is not fair. This is not fair, Cosmet. You're asking a question without putting exclamation mark ask in front of it, but I'm gonna answer it. I think at the beginning of a project, you should always, you should at least design your database and your database schema with as much as you know right now. Things will change. Like, that's why database migrations exist, just because potentially requirements will change, your understanding of the problem domain will change, but it's always good to have, at least in my opinion, to have a good data model from the beginning. Helps with communication, helps with API design. So I think create it at the beginning, but then modify it as needed. And what's up, Coding with Mike and Ace Mods and Gandalf? Welcome. Prasanth. Any plans to complete auth from scratch front end with Vue? I've done that. It's complete. What do you mean? If you go to my YouTube channel, there is a playlist. Auth, Noob Quest, auth from scratch. This one. And it is complete. The other thing about it is we even revisited it with Phil, and we actually did like a major refactor. So like, the first 5 videos are me pair programming with an extreme beginner programmer. He'd barely been coding for a few months, but we implemented auth from scratch. We talked about all of the concepts, and we built like a basic front end and back end with that. But then I brought on Phil, who was one of my past students, and we refactored the thing. We added tests. We split things out into multiple files. We made middlewares. We did all sorts of like more production level things. And so you can see that in those last 2 videos. Check it out. And hello, Bath Bomb. Thank you for that Twitch Prime sub. What's up, Dimitri and Sleepy? Hello, Lumacode and Darkham and Turtle Monkey and Game Dev and Danger Mouse and Victor and Uber Drive By. And Molda, who says, I'm stretching with you. Nice. If you like unit tests, I've been lonely for the past 1.5 hours on my stream. Come say hi. Hey. This is like an inadvertent self-promo, but I'm a little bit busy on my stream. But if you want some entertainment, go check out their stream as well. Looks like they're working on Vue too. But we try to avoid self-promos in the chat. And hello, Ikrish. And Differdev and Proxin and Krampus. Ozdy says, why Vue? Was React too hard for you? Chat, was React too hard for me? Let Ozdy know. What's up, Aram and Weedle and the Omni King? Can anyone share the GitHub README? I haven't uploaded it to GitHub yet, but we do currently have a wiki. Yeah, React is way too hard for me. Way too hard. What's up, Deco and Joe John? And so I apologize. I realize that you could actually be genuine with your question, but also the way you phrased your question is that you assume that to do React, you must know a lot more, and React is harder. I mean, you're not wrong. It is, but I write React on a daily basis, but I prefer Vue.js for a whole lot of reasons. But if you go to my YouTube channel, you can see all the things that I've done with React. I've done a very similar Q&A stream on React. Just search Coding Garden React. You'll find all kinds of things. So I've done an intro to hooks and building a to-do app. And then there was a Q&A stream, this one, where we did it, like, this one was fun. This is why we're doing it with Vue this time, because we did it with React last time. And hello, Deco. Welcome, welcome. What's up, Joe John? And Cyber Samurai, who said they found me on YouTube. Well, welcome. I'm glad you could be here. What's up, Gary? And Leichy, good afternoon. Yeah, I slept okay. I have the weirdest sleep cycle, because I only slept for like 5 hours, but I feel refreshed. I mean, I got my caffeine, but I feel refreshed. I feel good. SP Dean, how's it going? What's up, Jords? And WBW? And Deployedal. How would you build an app where data has to refresh every few seconds? I would use WebSockets. It's a standard thing. You basically can push events from the server to your clients. Yeah, WebSockets. Eddie, how's it going? Abalalama, how's it going? No, I have a full-time job, and then I do this in my spare time. And what's up, Overdrive, and Black Claw, and Depopom, and Dark Army, who says, I'm new here. Can you brief me on what's going on? I have a good avatar. Oh, thank you. Well, you have arrived within the first hour of the stream, which means we're saying hello to everybody. The Coding Garden here is a community. We're nice to each other. We support each other. We appreciate each other. And we do a lot of code stuff, too. But we have a Discord. It's a nice place to get help when I'm not streaming. But today, we are going to be answering all of the questions that you have about Vue.js, which is a front-end framework. And there's this website, Vox Populi, where all of your questions will go. So if you have a question about Vue.js, you can type !ask followed by your question. It will appear on this website. And that person just asked about, like, data has to refresh every few seconds. I mean, this website is real time because of WebSockets. So when someone asks a question, it automatically pops up on this page. For anybody that is on this page, you'll see it pop up. When somebody upvotes a question, like somebody upvote one of these questions right now. So in the chat, if you type !upvote followed by the question number, and pick one, pick a good question to upvote. There we go. So yeah, you can see in real time the Wumpus, was that Karate Wumpus? Or the avatar appeared. Are we really only gonna have one upvote? Come on, there's got to be at least one question on the screen that you like right now. Oh, look, that got even more upvotes. So you can see that the app is changing in real time, and that's using WebSockets. And welcome, Dark Army. I'm glad you could be here. And Zoltan, I could do some Svelte stuff. I think today somebody has to remind me, but we need to do some YouTube content. I think I'm going to do a speed run. We're going to create a CRUD client with Vue.js. And we'll try to do a speed run. Like, we'll do it in like 20 minutes or less. People really, really like my speed runs. That speed run I did has like over 20,000 views, and I only uploaded a few days ago. Basically, all I have to do is just do everything really fast. So that's 24,000 views. But people like it. I just gotta code real fast. What's up, Gazija? Cardin, how's it going? Hello, Bindas. Turtle Beach, what's up? We review my PR on Drop V2. Yeah, I mean, I'll probably merge it. I just need to wait until, I was potentially going to wait until we do a stream on the drop game. But yeah, I believe you did the pull request with putting the trails. Yes, I will merge it. And hello, Logo, and Nookie Poo, and ACM, and VDG Official, who says, not related to Vue. Are you familiar with Quasar? I mean, honestly, it's related to Vue, because Quasar is like anything Vue adjacent is a valid question. And Quasar is a component library that uses Vue.js under the hood. I've only used it once just to try it out. I haven't built any big projects with it, but it seems pretty cool, especially the fact that you can build like cross-platform apps. So you can build the same app, you can bundle it with Electron for desktop, you can bundle it with, I think, like Cordova for mobile. You can also do a progressive web app. And they have a ton of components. It's very similar to like Vuetify. It's a component library. Yeah, it's cool. Hello, Chevy. What's up, Aaron? Welcome, welcome. Hello, William Cameron and Kovik. And Lutetium Vanidium, who says, hi to Electric Boogaloo. What's up, Rohil? So, for those of you that are new here, we have made it past all of the hellos. And at this point, I will start to see all of the chats in my overlay. But before that, let's acknowledge all of the follows. And so that's another thing that I do here is I acknowledge follows in batches because it gets a little bit distracting if I acknowledge every single follow as it happens. So I'm going to do my best to come back over here and acknowledge them. So 21 minutes ago, S Double followed, and I appreciate you, S Double. Thanks for being here. What's up, Schnappy? The one, Dovakin. Welcome. Senpost, thank you for the follow. September, thank you for the follow. Ultrest, thank you for following. Blitzbieler, thanks for the follow. Skillath, thank you for being here. What's up, Deco? And Rovni Pecan. Pecanic? It looked like pancake. I don't know. Thanks for being here. Huang Punham, thank you for being here. Grav, thank you for the follow. Gary, much appreciated. Johnson, thank you for being here. Thane Dunn, thank you for the follow. Minatrap, thank you very much. Rizio, thank you. OTL Matt, thank you. Abalalama, thank you for the follow. 12 Wiko, thank you for following. Kovik, thank you. Thurismo, Pratik, and Yabis. Welcome to the Coding Garden. I'll say if you do have a question, the best way to get it in front of my eyes is to do this. Type !ask followed by your question. If it's not related to Vue.js, it's likely that I won't have time to answer it today. But in a future stream, so I do this like at least once a week, we just answer questions from this page here. I mean, if you scroll all the way down, you'll see a bunch of questions that were asked like a month ago, a few weeks ago. But if enough people like your question, they'll upvote it like this. Like this. This is a great question. 24 so it's like YouTube has started suggesting my videos, but it's tricky because I still do things like I upload a 3-hour archive stream. Nookie Poo, thank you for the 100 bits. And the YouTube algorithm does not seem to like long form content, but I'm not going to change. I'm going to keep I have 67,000. Like that's an insane number. Like it doesn't have to get any higher than that, and we can continue on for the rest of our days. I'm happy with that number. I'm not trying to get new subs, but you'll see like the longer form content. It gets a few thousand views, but those are just like loyal viewers, not necessarily people that found me via the algorithm. But like this video, the algorithm likes that video. 2,400 wouldn't yeah, I mean. You're right. Funny dude. I just turned into Instafuck. Can we get a shout out for Instafuck? Like I don't mean to do the things that he does, but I watch him a lot. Wow. Thank you, funny dude. Thank you, funny dude, for those gifted subs. I appreciate you. But if you want to see someone do this professionally, go follow Instafluff. Okay. Instafluff, yeah. Thank you, funny dude, very much. Congrats to all the new people. I'm not streaming on YouTube. No, I'm broadcasting, or I'm premiering an archive stream. So this stream was from like last week. This was from last Wednesday, and I'm premiering it. But I also have a chat bot running that says, "Hey, come watch me on Twitch," because I'm live there right now. Okay. What am I drinking? I'm drinking yerba mate, which is yerba mate itself is a type of tea, but this is a carbonated beverage that has yerba mate in it, and it's highly caffeinated. And here's the thing. So if you remember yesterday, this is my can from yesterday. I mentioned that it tastes different. So it's been about like at least 2 weeks since I've had one of these because I haven't been to the grocery store. And it tasted different. Yesterday, I went to Whole Foods, different grocery store than what I got the other one at, and it tastes like it used to taste. So I don't know if I got like a weird batch or if they changed. Like I looked at the ingredients. The ingredients are exactly the same, but the other one just tastes different. This tastes like I remember it. Yeah. Okay. Oh, and also, Yeah, you're welcome. Let's all drop some yerbas. Yeah, the yerba conspiracy. So this is my favorite drink, and we do actually have we have an emote to commemorate it. The yerba. Everyone, if you can, drop a yerba. Tai Chi, thank you for the hydrate. I drank that. Mr. Disagree, thank you for the hydrate. Luke Morales, thank you for the stretch. Everyone, feel free to stretch at home too. Look at all those yerbas. Plugs, thank you for that hydrate. Schnuppy, cheers. Slake, cheers. Revive Newt, reminding me to check my posture. And Apo, thank you for the hydrate. I have to add taste. A description. Well, it's not all food in my inventory app. We're gonna have more than just food in my inventory app. I'll be streaming for at least 2 hours. All right, let's start answering some questions. Hey, this is not related to. I'm telling you, keep your questions related to Vue.js and at least to Vue.js adjacent. Yerba mate is not tea. You have to drink it with hot water or very cold in some countries. I've never had it with cold water. It's a leaf that you steep in water. How is that not tea? But somebody's told me that. People have told me that before. That. Hey, Bones. I'll respond if I want to. Yeah, so let's talk about that real quick. If you want to ask a question, type !ask, followed by your question in the chat, and it will appear here. But look, I haven't even started asking questions yet, and there are already 46 questions, so it's very likely that either your question has already been asked, or I don't know what else is the other. It's likely your question has already been asked, and you can help me by just upvoting an existing question. So if you go to this website, vox.coding.garden, there, click that link. Find a question you like. So let's say, these are not Vue questions. Follow the directions. Okay, cool. Practical use of close scope slots. Beautiful question, Alana. So if you like this question, you can upvote it. So you can say upvote, followed by that question number, and it will go a little bit higher because you voted on it. Isn't so for one, I'm a little bit stopped up. I did some yard work yesterday, and I think my allergies are getting back at me. Well, not getting back at me, they're happening. They're like, they didn't happen yesterday, but they're happening today. And we have RTX voice on today, so I do sound a little bit different because of that as well. I'm not saying yours isn't Vue. There are just some that are very clearly not Vue.js questions. All right. I think we'll start with this. This one was asked by Amazon. It has a ton of upvotes. And the question is, can you show one simple example why you would choose Vue rather than React or Angular? I think, I mean, I guess I should write out my thoughts because I've done stuff like this. My question is great. Oh yeah, so actually, okay, sorry. I am going to answer this one first, but when I answer the next question, I will tell you a command to run. Thank you very much, D3Web, for that resub. But I'll tell you a command to run, which will, if your question is gray, it'll bounce it up to the top. But no need to do that right now because I'm answering this question. All right? All right, everybody? Let's make a directory for the Vue Q&A. How much do we have to donate to get you to delete Vue? This is not nice, Noct. Like, chill. And I can't do. I have no power. So here's the beautiful thing about open source. Nobody owns it. I don't have the power to delete it. I could uninstall it globally from my machine, but that's not going to harm anything. Alka is here? No, that's the Alka bot. Good morning, Fantasy Teapot. Welcome to the show. All right, this first question comes from Amazon KKA, recent Twitch Prime sub. I appreciate you. What's up, White Panther? Oh, you got gifted a sub? Nice. Yeah. Revive Newt is gifting so many subs. Quality content. Thank you. I can't hear right now because I'm in a work meeting. Yeah, no worries. Thank you for dropping by. And check out White Panther. They're a member of our live coder stream team, and they stream here on Twitch. Hey Plex, what's up? I mean, you're right. Technically, you can open. You can. Yes, you're right. However, Vue.js, I believe, is under the MIT license. Let's just look at it on GitHub real quick. And first of all, a quick intro. Vue.js is a front-end framework, meaning you can build front-end applications with it. And this is in the same category as something like React, or something like Angular, or Svelte, or Ember. They all solve a very similar problem, which is large, complex front-end applications, and typically single-page applications. Now, if you want to get specific, they do things in different ways, and they have different opinions about things. But for the most part, they're all used for that very reason. Yeah, no, exactly, and that's kind of just what I'm saying. Like, if you try to delete something that, it's under the MIT license. If you delete something that's open source, and I mean, look at this, there are already 26,000 forks. I mean, that's people that are either adding features to it or different things like that. I don't know. Nookie Poo, thank you for those bits. Okay. I guess, you could delete it locally for yourself, but that's kind of just like putting on a blindfold and putting on some headphones or like some earplugs so you don't actually see it. I don't know. Well, this is a good first question that comes from Amazon, which is, can I show a simple example on why I would choose Vue rather than React or Angular? So it's not, the thing is, it's not that simple. It really comes down to a team decision, like, or I mean, whoever you're building your app with. It is a team decision. And it's really about like how you prefer to build things. Now, people like React because it is very simple. Like, React technically is not a framework. Vue.js is definitely a framework. And so we could talk a second about like the difference between a library and a framework. I can type. I've thought about getting a new keyboard. I could clean this one. I don't know. My keys are weird. But React is actually more so a library than it is a framework. React is really just the Vue layer. Let's type this out. React is a library. Really just the Vue layer. A few helpers for state, but really not much. And yeah, so framework. So yeah, and I mean, so let's talk about really quick. Let's define that. So a library it provides utility. There are a few functions that you can use, but it doesn't necessarily have any opinions about how you do things. It's providing you with a few tools and saying, here, use these tools to build the thing that you want. A framework is much more full-featured. A framework has opinions about how you should do things, and it actually includes a lot more than a library does. So React is very simple. React is just the Vue layer. And one thing I'll mention is, one of the reasons I don't like React, or I don't like building apps with React, is whenever you decide to build a React application, it's not as simple as just choosing React. Like, okay, we're going to build an app with React. It's not that simple. So I'll say this. When you choose React, you must also choose... you're going to need a global state management library, or global state management. Now, for smaller applications, you probably don't need this. You could use the context API, or you could just use what's built into React itself. But show me one large React application in the modern world that is not using something like Redux. Like, it's just not the case. If you are building a React app, you need some sort of global state management, and there are a lot of choices. So Redux used to be the most popular. There are things like Recoil. If you're using GraphQL, then there's Apollo client, which kind of like wraps your GraphQL data and like caching and stuff like that. What else? There's React Query. I mean, typically, like, these two things are a little bit more than global state management, but they kind of do give you that. Yeah, you could potentially use something like RxJS if you really wanted to. So if you choose React, you must also choose, not must also, but you're most likely going to have to choose global state management as well. The other thing is you're going to need a router. Yeah, I mean, and so here's the thing. I use a thing called Easy Peasy, mainly because it looks, oh yeah, don't forget MobX. MobX is a pretty popular one. Yeah, you technically could use Vuex with React, but it takes a little bit extra because of the way React works. Yeah, router. So I mean, pretty much nowadays the default one is React router. Hey, thank you for that Twitch Prime sub. You could use Context API, which is built in. Yeah, so here's the thing. And you're kind of proving my point for me. All the people that are saying in the chat, Zustand is another one, or Zustand. Are there any German people in the chat? How do we pronounce this? Zustand? Zustand. That's how you say it in American. It's like, well, so it is opinionated, but it's that's actually another thing that I'll mention. It's actually separate is JSX, which is like a domain specific language. Zustand. That's how you would pronounce it. But you're proving my point for me. So if you choose React, you need to pick one of these things. And if you're working with a lot of people, you're gonna need to all sit down in a room and say, this is what we're going to use and why, and you might have to make your point. You also, if you have a dev team, you could choose the thing that you're gonna use from the get-go, and then just always use that thing. But this is a decision you have to make. There's routing. Let's just look up React router library. So React router is definitely the de facto one, but there also was it called, what was it called? They recently merged with React router. Reach router. Yeah. Reach router. Reach router. That's the one. Thank you. What's up, Robin? Robin is a React fan. Or a React user. Yeah, that's the one. The thing is, these two merged, but for a while you typically would choose between the two. Cool. Yeah, so you have to choose a router. There are other things you could choose from as. Oh, look at this. What the heck is that? Why did this show up when I searched for a reach router? I accidentally closed my chat. Let me open it back up. Bye, everybody. Rip. I don't know, Nookie Poo. I got, yeah, Nookie Poo says full-time streamer win. I have a lot of responsibilities at work that I'm not exactly ready to walk away from, so I don't know. This is my break timer. Let's all take a stretch. And also, I'm gonna set a. Let's only talk about this for no more than 7 more minutes because we actually want to show some Vue.js code. But okay, so if you choose React, you must also choose state management. You must also choose a router. What else? I guess like a component library. I'll say like this, other setup / dev tools. Yeah, oh, styling, that's a really big one. Thank you, Robin. Styles. So, out of the box, React does no special things for working with styles. You can, by default, like if you use something like Create React App, which is the de facto generator React app, whenever you do that, it does support importing CSS files, but they're not scoped in any ways. It's still global styles. So we have global CSS. You have things like CSS modules. You have things like, hey, MB Dealer, thank you for the 100 bits. You have things like CSS in JS. You have things like styled components. What else? What are some other ways to do styles in React? That's it for the most part. Oh yeah, I mean, you could use something like Tailwind, which is like a utility in a way, and Material UI is like a component library. I think Emotion is under the category of styled components, right? Right. Yeah, I mean, so Sass eventually would transpile down to CSS. You would have the same problems as just using plain old CSS. But all I'm saying is, when you build a React app, you have to choose one of these things, and they all do things in a slightly different way, and people have different preferences on why they would choose one over the other. I personally like CSS and JS, probably because I use Material UI, and under the hood they're using CSS and JS, and so when I went away from Material UI, I just continued to use that. But people hey, you stop it, Mr. You're supposed to be constructive about your disagreement. You're not supposed to just boo me. It's just my opinion. It's just my opinion. But a lot of people do like styled components. Hey, thank you for those 10 bits. Cool. And then other setup and dev tools like should we use Webpack versus Parcel versus Rollup versus Broccoli versus having an opinion in 2020. Linter. TypeScript config. Yeah, okay. So my point about choosing React is that when you choose React, there are also a ton of other decisions that you need to make. Yeah, I just mentioned broccoli because I felt like, I mean, technically we could put like gulp and grunt on here. Nobody really uses those anymore. I'm just making things up. No. These are real things. Actually, search. Did I spell broccoli wrong? Broccoli. Okay. So, if you choose React, you must make all of these decisions. Hey, Revive New. Thank you for those 100 bits. You could choose Next.js, but like, is Next.js even from the core library? Like, Next.js is technically a separate library, isn't it? Like, it's by the Versal team, and so this is also the other thing is like it's separate from the core library, meaning when a new person comes along to the to learn React, they potentially have to go elsewhere to get the things that they need. So when you choose React, you must also choose all of these other things, because I still stand by the fact that it's a library. It's a library because you can kind of do things however you want, and you have to bring in a lot of other things to make it work. It is definitely opinionated about JSX and DSL, but that's really just more the mechanics of React in terms of how does state work, how do updates work. Like that's the core idea behind React, is that you have the virtual DOM, you have whenever state updates, the virtual DOM re-renders and does the reconciliation thing. Like that's React itself, and that's how React works, but that's the library. Everything else you need to go find yourself. And then if we're talking about Vue, a lot of these decisions are made for you. So I'll say when you choose Vue, let's get all these we're gonna get these bullet points, but then we're gonna change them to Vue. For global state management, you pretty much use Vuex. For router, you pretty much just use Vue router. Here, like it's like an added bonus, but with Vue, you can use whatever templating language, templating library you want. So if you want to use JSX with Vue, you can. If you want to use Jade or Pug or any other templating library, you can. I realize that creates potentially more fragmentation because you actually do have a choice, but the fact that it lets you do it is there. For styles, it is just built in. Boob. I am not affiliated with Vue. I'm a very passionate coder. I've built a lot of apps in my life, and Vue is very nice and keeps me happy. So you could use the built-in styles, but the built-in styles give you scoped / like component level styles. You also can have CSS modules that are just built in. You also can have global styles that are all built in. No extra framework needed, or no extra library needed. And then typically for like setup, the Vue CLI does all of these things for you. So it chooses Webpack. It lets you set up a linter automatically. If you want to use TypeScript, it'll set that up automatically too. So with Vue, this is why it's more of a framework, is because each one of these things, they've pretty much made that decision for you. Now, the other nice thing about Vue is you are also welcome to use anything else. Like, you don't have to use these things, but you can, and it's nice that you can just start an app and you're kind of just ready to go with all of these things. So the question was, show an example why you would choose Vue rather than React or Angular. I think it comes down to like, how do you prefer to code? This point that I made about React, a lot of people actually like that. Like, this becomes a reason to use React because you have the freedom to do it. But I will mention, like, this is like freedom, but also within like guardrails, because you have these choices have been made for you if you don't want to worry about them. But also, like, you technically could use Redux with Vue if you wanted to. You could use some other routing library. You could use CSS and JS with Vue if you really wanted to. But you don't have to, and that's one of the things that I like about it. And so, I mean, we didn't mention it in the question here about. Oh, you did mention Angular, but I'll say really quick. Like, if you choose Angular, first of all, I'm not super familiar with Angular, but for the most part, you kind of have to use what they provide for you. And most Angular apps that you come across will be using the default Angular ways of doing things. And so that is a nice thing about using Angular, is that a lot of these decisions have been made for you. And every Angular app you come across has pretty much chosen those exact same decisions. Yeah. Yeah, and so, like, it tells you, for the most part, that you must use TypeScript. Though I think it's technically possible to use it without TypeScript. Yeah, so, hello, Shifty. Well, thank you, Terriest. Yeah, we'll actually get into writing some code, and I'll show you. So somebody had a question really quick that said, what about speed? I don't care. I'll tell you this, like, I've been building web apps for a very long time, and I have not once had to benchmark the rendering speed of one framework versus the other. Like, they work just fine, and if you follow the rules and you do things right, you really don't have to worry about performance optimization. That said, one of the things about React is it's also very easy to do things wrong. So because React is so simple, like React, like the library itself is extremely simple. It's basically, you provide a render function. That render function will rerun anytime the state changes, and that's about it. If you want to start to make it a little bit smarter, you can choose when the re-render actually should happen, versus always happening all the time. But the default is pretty much to re-render anytime any of the state changes, whether or not any of the state that your component or your render function was dependent on actually changed. Which means that in React, it's actually a lot easier to build something that's not as performant, because you're going to have a lot more unnecessary renders. Whereas in Vue, it just renders things automatically, and it has dependency tracking. I don't know. We need to write some Vue code. Types, yeah, so Angular has lazy loading, sure. I learned PHP before Python. I learned Django before Flask. I learned React before Vue. These are not poor decisions. I mean, I think you made that decision at the time. You learned the thing. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, I'm giving you a lot of reasons why you should learn Vue, but if you're learning React right now, that's fine. There are a lot of jobs in React. Like, yeah. Oh, well, hey, what do you mean? They technically, I see. They run the code through a TypeScript transpiler, because TypeScript at the end of the day is just JavaScript. Like, it gets turned into JavaScript. I don't care about speed. I don't. Yeah, the presentation is the least of your optimization worries. Yeah, so like there are things that, like, in terms of like managing your state, stop doing array searches for things. Like, you should put things into like key value store, so it's like constant lookup instead of searching through an array inside of your render function. Like, that's your problem. That's not React's problem. Yeah, as long as the site feels fast. Yeah. No, Vue uses one-way binding just like React does. It looks like it uses two-way binding because they have a lot of helpers, but behind the scenes, it's still one-way data flow just like it is with React. I do remember Dung Hero. Yeah, and then here's the other thing. If you choose Vue 3, we gotta stop. We gotta actually write some code. Here's the thing. I don't think Ben would debate me because he doesn't know Vue.js, or he hasn't like really worked with it much. When can we use WinForms on websites natively? You know what? I think because of WASM, somebody has built a compiler that can turn WinForms into websites. I'm pretty sure that's a thing. Yeah, yeah. Yep, so Vuex is the global state management if you need it. Vue Router is the de facto router for Vue. Thank you for the focus mode. Good vibes. Oh, nice, Mr. Disagree. That's good to hear. You work for a company that uses Vue. I don't hate React. I literally... I'm being held hostage by React because I write React on a daily basis for my job. Yeah, well, I think they like polyfilled it. I'm pretty sure it's a thing. I don't know. Okay, Amazon, are you still here? Did this answer your question? I realized that I didn't exactly answer your question, but I'm just kind of starting off with like what are some of the major differences between the two, and now I'll actually just like demonstrate that with real code. A big company that uses Vue, GitLab, or yeah, GitLab. You can look on the Vue website too. Free CJ, help! Being held hostage by React. Let's see, once in, yeah, Stockholm syndrome, exactly. Apple, Facebook. Wait, do these all use React or do these all use Vue? I use DuckDuckGo as my search engine. Let's all take a second to appreciate DuckDuckGo. If you have to learn all three, in what order? I'd say learn React first. So here's the thing: like when you're in the world of learning, you should struggle. You should pretty much learn the hard way, so that way you can appreciate when you start to use something that does it the easy way. I'm kind of that opinion. You don't have to do that, but in React, you're much closer to what's actually happening in terms of like rendering and state updates, whereas in Vue, all of that's kind of just hidden behind the scenes. So you don't necessarily appreciate it as much. So I don't know. Zoom uses Vue. That's cool. Facebook uses React. Stop it, Kazisha. All right, what am I doing? I'm going to tell you about DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo is really cool. It's the search engine that I prefer. They respect your privacy, and one of the cool things about it is they have these things called bang commands. Hey, Little Hero Spark, thank you for the host. If you type exclamation mark in the chat not in the chat on DuckDuckGo, you can search across a bunch of different things. So when I do exclamation mark npm, it searches npm. When I do exclamation mark MDN, that searches the Mozilla Developer Network. Hey, don't put exclamation marks in the chat. So DuckDuckGo is my default search engine. So when I do something like this, that immediately jumps out to npm because it's searching through DuckDuckGo. Okay, the first rule of Twitch chat is don't tell people to not do something because they're gonna do it. All right, let's keep going. Actually, I think did we lose Amazon though? Really quick. First of all, stop spamming exclamation mark. Second, did this help answer this question? Why would we choose one over the other? I mean, because the thing is, at the end of the day, they all solve pretty much the same problem. They allow you to build front-end applications. Like, one isn't necessarily better for building certain applications over front-end applications over other front-end applications, right? Type 1 in the chat if what we just talked about was useful. Type 2 in the chat if you're mad. Typed. Thank you. Yeah. Cheers, everyone. Are you mad? 1 + 2 = 3. Cool. All right, so during my rant, oh yeah, so the questions are in the chat. So if you do !ask followed by your question, it's gonna pop up here on this website. Cool. I'm glad people are learning things. So in my rant, we've gotten 31 follows. I appreciate you all. Thank you for being here. Thank you for following. And NDG, thank you for that Prime sub. Very much appreciated. The French Dog, thank you for following. Matt, thank you for following. JC Watson, thank you for that Twitch Prime sub. Joe Putra, thank you for that follow. Surge, thanks for the follow. Ibu, thank you for following. Pluable, thank you for the follow. Bluefence, Bluefencing, thank you for the follow. P. Copley, thank you for the follow. Gamerbot, much appreciated. Johnson, thanks for the follow. Ernesto, thanks for following. Samyak Bambuli, thank you for following. Buzz, thank you for the follow. Shooty, thanks for following. Buchacho, thank you for the follow. Dark Army, much appreciated. Marchart Production, thank you for the follow. Salvage Deb, thanks for being here. Clays, thank you for the follow. Upa, thank you for the follow. Hey, Little Hero Spark, thank you for that gifted sub. Very much appreciated. Hey, Revive Newt, thank you for the 1,000 bits. You all are too kind. I swear to you, we actually do write code here. The thing is, like, I really like to put my money where my mouth is. That's the phrase, right? I will show you with code. I won't just talk about it. And Catan, thank you for the follow. Stevalito, thank you for the follow. Abalema, wait, didn't you already follow? But thank you for the follow. Sams, thanks for following. Mutrix, thanks for the follow. Part Misto, thank you for the follow. Catalic, thank you for the follow. Kamanbam, thank you for the follow. Blackia, thanks for following. Xenoplayed, much appreciated. NTG, also with the Twitch Prime sub and with the follow. Thank you for being here. Mad P, thank you for that follow. Grindy, thank you. Folk, much appreciated. Mr. Co, thank you for being here. Mac, thanks for being here. Alex, thanks for being here. And PM Carpin, thank you all for the follows. Talk is cheap. Talk is cheap. Let's write some code. All right, so if you have asked a question on here, on this page, and so for anybody that's just joining us, the way that you ask a question is by typing !ask in the chat, followed by your question, and it will appear here. We're answering questions specifically about Vue.js. The other thing is we already have 64 questions, so it's very likely that your question has already been asked. It's very likely it's already been asked, so I encourage you to not ask a question and actually just upvote an existing question. So help somebody out. You can go to vox.coding.garden and see all of the questions that have been asked, and pick one. Like this. Is Vue 3 and Vue 2 the same? Should I learn Vue 3? And then if you do ! upvote followed by that number, it will upvote that question. All right. Now, if you have asked a question already, type ! here in the chat. So if your question was gray right now, if you type ! here, that's going to let me know that you actually are here, and it's going to bring those questions up to the top, and then we will answer the very, very first one. The one at the top. Yeah, we just rack up questions and we don't actually answer them. Oh, thank you, DV man. We got some redemptions. What's happening here? Kyra, thank you for that hydrate. James H. Dev, thank you for the hydrate. It's Coder Life, thank you for the stretch. Slake, thank you for the hydrate. Saitico, thank you for that posture check. We got 2 focus modes. We're going to figure out how we can use those. And then Sanket, thank you for the hydrate as well. Cheers. It does have to be Vue related, yeah. we'll do a more general Q&A probably next week. All right, first question up at the top by Funny Dude, a VIP here on the channel and a friend of the Coding Garden. Who likes frogs. But Funny Dude asks, is the Composition API similar to React hooks conceptually? Honestly, this is going to be like another no-code one, but afterwards we will talk about scope slots. So, but just real quick. Hey, Sika Player, thank you for the raid. Welcome, Raiders. Howdy, howdy. You have arrived at the Coding Garden. We do a lot of things here. We are actually maybe about to start writing code, but for the most part, we're answering questions. And this is a Vue.js Q&A. So if you have any question about Vue.js, I am more than happy to answer it. And if you do have a question about it, you can type !ask followed by your question in the chat, and it will show up on this website. And we're about to answer this question. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Doc. We're about to answer this question from, wait, it went away. From Funny Dude, who says, is the Composition API similar to React hooks conceptually? I will say sort of. My answer is sort of. And the reason being is the things that they have in common are that they allow you to reuse functionality in multiple components. Yeah, reuse functionality / share code. We will write code. So one of the things about React hooks is you can write reusable hooks and you can use them in many different components. Very similar with the Composition API. You can create composition functions and reuse those in your components. That's about where the similarities break down. What they don't have in common. In React, there are a lot of rules to hooks. So rules to hooks. They must be in exact order. Or it must be in the same order. Cannot be conditionally called. What are some of those? What are those? Hey, good job, Julian. What are some of the other rules about React hooks? So like you can't wrap a call to a React hook in an if statement, or it can't be like after an early return. Hey, Callum, thank you for the gifted sub. Very much 5 gifted subs. Thank you, Callum, for the 5 gifted. Very much appreciated. Thank you. Thank you. React hook cannot be defined conditionally. Well, no, like you couldn't, yeah, I'll say like must be at the top level of a component. React hook cannot be defined conditionally. Well, I guess what I mean is, like we're not technically defining the hook, we're actually calling it. So like if I have my super cool component, actually, can I do JSX? So let's say we have like a little component here, and this just returns a nice little render function with a div, and then just says like hi. Up at the top here, we'll say like items, and no, let's say like this. We get back items from some hook called use items. And this is like a hook that we've defined ourselves, which like fetches an API from an API or something like that. You couldn't say something like if props.wat, then items equals like let items start off as an empty array, and then on some conditional value inside of props we reassign items. But like you can't do this. It breaks down how hooks are actually called. They have to be top level. Let's say that. Well, thank you, Incent. Much appreciated. That's right. Okay, so these are all the things you need to take into account when you're working with hooks, and then also you must explicitly. We're gonna do the split bean run. Thank you for the reminder. Actually, let's just do that right now, and maybe I'll answer questions in my speed run. JSX. Chevy Wood, thank you for that host. All right, see you later, Revive Newt. Thank you so much for all the supports, the gifted subs. Thank you for being here, being a smiling face in the chat, and have a good night. We'll see you. Everyone say bye, Revive Newt. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Wave. Speed run? Yeah. And then the other thing is you must what was I going to say? Oh, define hook dependencies. Cool. So in React, there are a bunch of rules. You got to do all these things in a very specific way, and all of that. In Vue, you just use them. There's no gotchas. There's no specialties. Because of the way the data reactivity system in Vue works, all of these things don't even apply. You could do these if you actually wanted to, and you don't have to manually specify dependencies because Vue.js has automatic dependency tracking. All right. Would anybody be mad if I just built an app really quick? Or I mean, I would try to make it quick. It could be longer than that. Type 1 in the chat if you want to see me speed run building a CRUD client with Vue.js. No. Like we're going to build a website that allows you to create, read, update, and delete, and it's going to call to an API. That's a lot of ones. Type 2 if you don't want me to do that. Let's take a poll. Like it's not. I mean, the tricky part is like if I do that, it's like less questions that I can answer. But I feel like inadvertently, I'm not going to use TypeScript, but I will use the Composition API. Speed run CRUD. Keep answering questions. All right, vote in the poll. Let me see if there are any just like high level questions that I can answer really quick. And funny dude, hopefully that answered your question. Like conceptually, it's only the only thing they have in common is that it allows you to reuse code, which is really nice. Like that's one of the beautiful things about the Composition API and about React hooks. But other than that, that's where the similarities break down. What's the best way to structure a medium or large size Vue project? Here's one thing I'll mention about Vue is like Vue actually doesn't have an opinion about where you put your files, so it's totally up to you. And the way I do it was actually inspired by John Papa from the Angular 1 stuff. So if you look up the John Papa John style guide, Angular 1 style guide, I haven't looked. I don't even know if he has an Angular 9 style guide. Last updated 3-4 years ago. Cool. Oh, you converted your chat to Vue and Electron. Nice. Nice. All right. The one thing I will show you is the lift principle. And so like this is just like a very general concept that you can pretty much apply to, and you can apply this to a React app, you can apply this to a Vue app. But the lift principle is that you should structure your code so that you can locate it quickly, identify it at a glance, have the flattest structure as possible, so don't have a lot of nested folders, and keep it, try to stay dry, or like don't repeat yourself. And then in here they have some examples. So like, and this is also known as folder by feature. So basically, instead of having a top-level components folder and a top-level views folder, which could just get filled up with files very quickly, you actually create separate folders for all the different sections of your application. So you have the Avengers section of your app, and that has all of the components related to that. And also all of the potential hooks, all of the tests. Basically, everything related to that one section of the app is in that folder. So you don't have to like jump around between the test folder and the components folder and then the store folder. Everything is all in that one folder. I think he has some pictures too. Yeah, so like this is the way not to do it. We're basically, well, wait. No. Speedrun CRUD won by 92%. Well, all right. Great work, everyone. 115 votes. All right, people want content. All right, see you later, Callum. Thank you for the gifted subs. Let's all say bye to Callum. Speedrun. Have a great day. Okay, what was I showing? Yeah, and then, so, I mean, this is specific to Angular 1, but, like, in the people folder, you have the controller, the routes, basically the template file of the component. So, I realize that this is not, they're not specifically talking about Vue, but if you want to know how to structure your apps, this is I've been following this for a very, very long time in my React apps and in my Vue apps as well. So thank you for that question. Yeah, and so somebody actually did bring that up earlier. So like Next.js is kind of like the antithesis of all of the stuff that I talked about here, like in terms of choosing the way to do things, because Next actually does make a lot of opinions for you. But I'm specifically talking about the React library itself and the Vue library, because there also is, oh, no, sorry, Next. Next.js is the Nuxt.js equivalent in the Vue world. Yeah. Oh, well, welcome, Johns. Thank you for being here. Do I think Vue is easier to learn and use than React? I think it is. And the reason it is because it uses things that a front-end web developer already knows. So if you know HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, you can build Vue applications. There are a few domain-specific things that you need to learn, like directives, and then you need to learn about handlebars, but that's it. When you get into the React world, there's a lot more that you need. You need to learn about the JSX syntax and all of the gotchas of JSX syntax. You potentially need to learn about higher order methods if you're not used to seeing things like map. If you're not used to seeing things like ternaries, you have to learn about those. Now, I realize some of you might say, why don't you know map or why don't you know ternaries? Like, those are not super common concepts for like beginners or people that are just coming into the JavaScript world. So yeah, it's definitely easier to learn and use Vue. Objectively. Cool. I think, yeah, we're gonna use hooks. All right, let's speed run. Will we use scope slots in this app? I have a feeling this is gonna probably take me like 30 or 40 minutes. I don't know if I can do it in 20 minutes. I really don't know. All right, see you later, Life Cats. Thank you for being here. Okay. And actually, just real quick, I'm going to install the Vue CLI, reinstall it globally, because I currently have version like 4.4, and I think that 4.5 or 4.6. So, if you want to generate Vue applications, you can run this command. It'll install it globally. You could also use npx, but I like to have it globally because it runs fast. Who needs a framework for a framework? You definitely should have learned those before attempting to learn a framework. Changed my mind. Sure about like maps and ternaries, but not about JSX. Like JSX is specific to React. I mean, not specific, like React is the thing that introduced JSX. You can use it in a lot of other places now, but there are a whole lot of gotchas and rules about JSX, and also a whole lot of gotchas and rules about how you can update state and when you can update state, and a whole lot of gotchas and rules about how you can use hooks and when you should use hooks, and different things like that. So there's a lot more involved in React, whereas Vue just lets you do what you want to do, and it just works. Cool. I don't actually play Rocket League. Rocket League is about the only game that I play. Yeah. No, I agree. But for beginners, they may not have seen that stuff before. I've seen a lot of beginners. It's true. It's true that you don't need JSX in React, but show me one production application written with React that doesn't use JSX. Like, you can say that, but like, who does that? Rocket League? I disagree, Philippe. So you have self-closing tags, you have fragments, you have when to use an expression inside of a template versus not. You have different ways of like passing down props. So like, there are a lot of things you need to know about it to be able to use it. Whereas with Vue, you just use HTML, and all the things you know about HTML still work. All right. Rockstar? What? No. What are you talking about? I'm going to acknowledge these follows, and then we're just going to go as fast as we can. Moho Joke, thank you for the follow. Daniel, thank you for the follow. Pacto, thank you for the follow. Angela, thank you for the follow. Anton, thanks for following. Love Miner, thank you for the follow. Xcoder, thank you for the follow. Trax, thank you for the follow. Duke, thanks for being here. Hasanali, thank you for being here. Nomo Requity, thank you for being here. KLF, much appreciated. Harish, thank you for being here. Pedro, thank you. Mashuk, thank you. Mighty, thank you very much. Rubadub, much appreciated. Beldathos, thank you. Uwe, thanks for being here. Hadrala, Hyder Alaipun, thank you for being here. Jonks, much appreciated. And Jewel Palm and Vishwas, thank you all for the follows. I appreciate you. Also on the topic of JSX, you have to know to use class name versus class, and you have to know to use HTML4 instead of 4. There are just so many rules that aren't HTML, is all I'm saying. we have 4 focus modes. So, hey, Firejax, thank you for that Twitch Prime sub. That's 32 minutes? Is that how math works? 8 times 4. 32. 32 minutes. Can we build this app in 32 minutes? We can try. Neos, thank you for the stretch. Much appreciated. Jojon, thank you for the hydrate. Cheers. T13R, also thank you for that hydrate. Cheers. And Slake, thank you for the hydrate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 40 minutes. Okay. I think we can do it in 40 minutes, especially if it is a speed run. We are going to build a CRUD client in Vue.js. So just real quick, let me get the I need to get the API running. So I built a I don't even remember where it was. Yeah, YouTube content. Speedrun the Entropy app. I have to go back to my YouTube video just to see where I put this code, because I speedrun a CRUD API. Let's see where it's at. CRUD challenge. Okay. Yeah, we'll do it here. This is good. And we'll get this running. Cool. So the server's running on port 4242, and then we're going to generate the client right here. And just real quick, let me open up Insomnia, which is what we're using to make requests. CRUD frequently asked questions. So we can get all. It's currently empty. We'll create one. Here it is. Can anyone guess what the most frequently asked question is on here on the Coding Garden? First person to guess that is not a sub will get gifted a sub. Now, it's not how old are you? It's got to be a non-sub. A non-sub has to say it. How do you do that? There it is. Austin Cam has it. What editor theme do you use? So many, like every single new person that comes into the chat asks this question. Also, every single video that I upload to YouTube, somebody asks this question. What is your theme in VS Code? Does anybody know the answer? Does anybody know how to answer this question? The keyboard, I would say the keyboard is definitely a tough second for the most frequently asked question. Yeah. Do. You almost said keyboard. Well, you got it, Austin. Good job. And I'm glad you knew what the question was. And congrats! There you go. That gift sub is for you. Thank you for being here. My hair is green. This is definitely a thing. Okay, who's ready? Oh yeah. Well, the point of that was so right now my database is empty, so I'm gonna put a frequently asked question in there, so we actually have something. Yeah, there's a lot of people here. I appreciate you all. Thank you for being here. What VS Code theme do you use? The answer is, it's called Just Black. You can see all of my VS Code settings here, and then we will link to github.com/codinggarden/VS Code settings. Specifically, I will mention this. If you do like my theme, first of all, it's called Just Black, but we've modified it. So if you look in my settings JSON, there is this section right here, token color customizations, that changes a little bit about it. But this. I do not. Oh, actually, so you inadvertently asked a frequently asked question. I actually use a blue screen. The real. Thank you for being here. Hey, Ron. I will have the mods time you out if you start talking about what you talked about last time. So don't. You can talk about the opposite of what you talked about last time. Actually, mods, can we add that as a banned term? It's 2 words. Do any of the mods know what I'm talking about? Look at Ron's message history and you'll know what I'm talking about. But welcome, Ron. Thank you for being here. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Mr. Al knows what I'm talking about. All right. So the frequently asked question is, what VS Code theme do you use? It's called just black. You can see all my VS Code settings here. All right. So if I do a post request, it actually creates it. Great. And then if I do a GET request, we should see it in the results. That's awesome. And then I should be able to get by that ID too. So this is the CRUD API that we built last time. We're going to build a front end that allows us to see all of these things. Okay. No, not Vim. All right. So I'm using TMI.js for my my chat overlay, and TMI has events for timeout or message deletion, and my overlay is just listening for that, and it responds accordingly. All right, who's ready? Who's ready? First of all, how many seconds are in, or how many seconds are in 40 minutes? 2,400. All right, I guess we'll do let's try to do it in 30 minutes. It'll be nicer. So 30 times 60, 1,800. We'll try to do it. We'll save that would leave us with 2 focus modes. We'll save that for something else. Yeah, RTX voice is on. I'm gonna leave it on for now. Okay, countdown timer. We're gonna do 1,800 seconds. That looks good. And then if we go over here, we'll move that around. Oh. Right there. Oh, no, I need it to refresh it when it becomes active. Cool. Okay. RTX voice is a machine learning thing which removes background noise from a microphone. All right, I'm nervous. Is everyone nervous? Okay, here we go. All right, I gotta collect myself. We need the content emotes. We gotta get in the mood. Spam the chat with content emotes and say hi, YouTube. You can do this. Thank you, Camera Codes. Thank you. Content. All right. Hello, friends. Welcome to Coding Garden with CJ. In this video, I am going to attempt to speedrun building a CRUD client with Vue.js and the Composition API. So if you saw the last video, we built an API to allow us to create, read, update, and delete frequently asked questions. And so we're going to use that same API, but we're going to build a front end that allows us to interact with that API. So we're going to have a page to list all the things, a page to create a thing, a page to update a thing, and a way to delete a thing. Let's go. I need to start the timer. Totally forgot. We're already into it. Let's go. So first thing, we need to generate an app. So for that, I'm going to do Vue create. I'm just going to call this client. And I already have the backend server running. Let's choose some features. I'm going to pull in the router because we're going to have different pages, like I mentioned. I'll pull in Vuex. I really don't know if we'll need it or not, but I'm going to pull it in, and I'll bring in Sass just because. All right, let's go. No history mode. We're going to use Sass. We are going to use ESLint with the Airbnb config, and we'll choose all of this and put it in dedicated files. No, let's go. Okay. So we're technically right now we are in a Vue.js Q&A stream, and I'll just mention this is one of the things I like the most about the Vue CLI is that it has all of those things built into it. The Create React app does not. Create React app just creates like a super basic app. This has all of that stuff, and it's just going to generate an app with all of that stuff installed and ready to go. Okay. This gives us a moment to take a quick breath. I think it's fine. We're wasting a few seconds, but that's okay. We'll get there. All right, so now we're going to go into this client folder, and we'll open it up with VS Code. I'll give you a quick tour of the files. So this is the app that gets generated. We have all of those configs that we talked about. If we go into the source directory, we can see main.js, and this is our application entry point. And so it's bringing in our app component, which is our top-level component, our router, and our Vuex store, and then we're mounting it on an element with ID app. And if we look in the public folder, there's an index.html, and this has a div with ID app. So this Vue application is going to live right there on that div. We can see that there is app.vue, so this is our top-level component, and it's got some styles in here, and it's got just like a basic template. So let's start it up, npm run serve, and while that's happening, I totally forgot. I'm going to use a style. I'm going to use a CSS framework. So I'm going to let the chat vote right now. Should we use Bootstrap? Or should we use Bulma? Those are your two choices. Pick one. All right, so let's see. It started up. It's currently running on port 8083. I have a bunch of different apps running on my machine, so typically this would start up on port 8080, but it chooses a different port because port 8080 is taken. And there we go. We have a basic Vue.js application. That's awesome. Let's go ahead and just clean it up. So first thing I'm going to do is remove all of the extra styles. So you can see right here that we have some app styles. I'm just going to get rid of those. And then all of our styles get removed. I'm going to get rid of these links here. Thank you very much, Topsy, for that Twitch Prime sub. So I'm going to get rid of those links at the top, so that way we just have a router view. That's our home page. Let's see how the poll is doing. Bulma is winning. Wow, very curious. Cool. Keep voting, everyone. And what else do I need to do? I need to set up the composition API. So technically, right now, this is a Vue.js 2.0 application. This is not Vue 3. As of today, Vue 3 is still a release candidate. It is not officially released yet. So if we want to get the composition API set up in a Vue.js 2.0 application, we can do that like so. Vue.js/composition API. So you just install this as a separate library. npm install Vue composition API. And then... So the tricky thing, so even though it is RC, all of the tooling around it isn't necessarily ready yet. So like the Vue CLI isn't necessarily ready. There's a few bugs in the React router. So all the tooling around Vue 3 still needs some work, which is why I'm not going to use it. Okay, so we've installed the composition API. We then need to bring it in our main file. So in our main.js, we're going to bring in composition API, and then we use it. So right here, I will say vue.use composition API like that. And I believe I probably need to do this so that way it's actually being used before the component is brought in. But now we can actually use it, and I will show you how it works in a second. Let's see how we're doing on the poll. Bulma has won. All right, so the styles we're going to use is our Bulma. This is a CSS framework. Let's get started. Show me how to get started, Bulma. Prove your worth. Show me how do I add it to my page. Overview. Start. Here we go. We can add from JS deliver. Oh, actually, no. We're using npm, so we're just gonna install it and then we'll import it in. Cool. So we're installing Bulma. We basically wasted about 5 minutes on setup, which gives us roughly 25 minutes to actually complete the app. We'll try our best. I could have used a CDN link. It's fine. It's fine. We'll figure it out. So that installed Bulma. Now I need to import that CSS. I'm just going to import it in main.js. I realize I could import it in the CSS, but this is fine. So I'm just going to say import Bulma/CSS. I don't know what the file name is. So we're going into the node modules folder. We're going to find that Bulma folder. CSS. It's literally just bulma.css, so that's fine. So we import bulma.css. Great. And now if we go to our app, we have a font. Something's working. Let's get a base layout. So let's go into elements. I want like a nav bar. You know, I feel like the Bulma documentation is really trying to be helpful, but I do not understand their categorization. It's really hard for me to find things in here. Container section component. Is there? Oh, there's components. Okay, great. And then navbar. Whew. All right, you all have to help me because we're in a speed run here. Okay, so we have a navbar. Basically, we just want a super simple navbar like this. So let's copy this. Okay, copy. All right, I'm actually going to put this in a component. So first thing to learn about Vue.js components is that they go into a Vue file. So in my components directory, I'm going to create a file called navbar.vue. And then in here, we're going to put this in, but actually this goes inside of a template. So your Vue component, everything is in one file. Your template, all your HTML stuff goes there. HTML, your script, all of your custom JavaScript or your component JavaScript is going to go in here. For our navbar, we actually don't need much. I'm not going to have a button. Whoa, that didn't mean to do that. All right, see you later, Austin Cam. Thank you for being here. We don't need an image. I'm just going to say FAQs, so frequently asked questions, and this is just going to link to the page itself. All right, so we have this component called navbar. I want to bring this into my top level page. So right now my app.vue component has the router view. This is where all of the pages get rendered. And so right above this, I'm going to add my navbar component. Now, to register this component, I actually do need to import it in. I could do a global registration, but I'm just going to do a local. I can do this. Oh, they have a copy button. All right, I'll try to use that. Thank you, Cushy Mushy. Export default object. We need to register the component. So right here, I'm just going to say components, and I'm going to specify navbar. And so that actually allows me to use the navbar component inside of my template, but I also just need to import it in. So I'm going to import navbar from the components directory. Now, one of the nice things is the Vue CLI actually adds a configuration for prefixing your source directory with the @ sign. So you can do @/components/navbar. I don't know why I'm not getting autocomplete. That's really unfortunate. But that'll bring the navbar component in. That'll render it at the top. Let's see what we get. It's there. It's just white. Let's make it a different color. I know I have some things memorized about Bulma. So can I do is dark? Hey, that's nice. All right, good enough. All right, so we have a navbar, and then we're loading the made page. So I think what we'll do on the home page is we will list all of the frequently asked questions. So let's go ahead and do this. Right now we have a view called home. Let's get rid of all the extra stuff that's in here. We're going to get rid of the welcome and the list, and we're going to get rid of that hello world component. And you actually don't need to put a name on your components, but you can. Okay, so this is our home component, and what I want to show, actually, yeah. We'll do this like error first. So I want a frequently asked question list, and so we're going to create a component that actually lists out all of the frequently asked questions. So let's import that in from @/components/that.vue. And then we need to register it here. Great, so that should on the home page, we're going to render frequently asked questions. Great, this doesn't exist, so we're going to create a component called frequently asked questions .vue. Cool, we have our Vue file. First thing I'm going to teach you about is the Composition API. So up until now, none of our components have had any JavaScript in them. They're just templates. This one needs some JavaScript. And so with the Composition API, all you need is a function called setup. And so inside of this function, you can define all of the data that you want to render inside of your template. You can make API calls. You can basically do all the component type stuff inside of this function. And then this function returns an object, and whatever properties are on that object are accessible inside of the template. Speedrun. Basically, let's have like a div. This is going to be our template. And I think we'll just have like cards for each of the frequently asked questions. Advanced view. So let's find a component for a card component. Should be super simple. I think we'll do something like this. Like this will be the question. This will be the answer. So let's copy. Oh, we got this copy button. It will need to be async, but that's fine because we can make because you're right. We can make API requests. But we're going to have a div. Each of our frequently asked questions is going to be inside of a card. We won't have an image. We will just have content that just has the title here. And then the content, which is going to have the text itself. So there's that. All right. Do we get a card? Yeah, we get a card. It says John Smith. Great. But we actually want to show the frequently asked questions here. So for that, we need to make an API request. Now, I think what I'll do is I'll write it all inside of the component, and then we'll extract it out into some custom hooks to show you how all of that works. So our API is here. This is the request that we need to make to request all of the frequently asked questions. So I'm going to create an API URL. That is equal to that. And then I need to request all of the frequently asked questions. So let's just have a function called get FAQs. Hey, Vociferous! Thank you for the 2-month resub and welcome. So get frequently asked questions. And for this, we're just going to use fetch. So I'm going to make this an async function. We're going to say await fetch to that API URL. It should just be a simple get. We're going to get back the response. And then we're going to turn it into JSON. Wait, response.json. That should give us back an array. And now we need some sort of data that we can actually expose in our view. And actually, technically, I can just put, well, sorry. That technically, I can put this outside of my component. It doesn't even need to be inside of here. I could just do something like this. We'll keep it inside because we're going to extract it later anyways. All right, but now we need some data. And so the way the composition API works is that you create either a reactive property or a reference property. In this case, I'm just going to create a ref. So I'm going to do this. We're going to import a ref from, not form, from Vue composition. Is it at Vue / composition API? Yeah. So a ref is basically a single reactive value, and you can give it an initial value. So this is kind of like use state in React, but it's better. So I could say something like FAQs is a ref that starts off as an empty array. So this is my reactive data property. And then I want this to be exposed inside of my template. So on this object that I return here, I'm just going to return FAQs. And then inside of my function here, I'm just going to say frequently asked questions dot value equals JSON. So a ref is a reactive wrapper around a simple value. So if I want to change the underlying value, I do have to access the value property. Technically, I could create a reactive reference, which is an object that has properties on it, but refs are nice. You can create lots of little ones. All right, see you, Lechi. Thank you for hanging out. Okay, so this is just gonna work. We will call this function basically right here. This is kind of like calling the function inside of the created lifecycle hook. So when the component is created, it's going to call the API. It's going to update the data. It doesn't matter if the component is rendered yet. We can still update the data under the hood. And then those frequently asked questions are exposed in our template. So now we can use them. So I want to repeat this card for every frequently asked question in the frequently asked questions. So Vue does have a virtual DOM, so we are going to have to specify a key so that it knows how to keep track of things. But then here inside of this v4, I can say, let's put the frequently asked question dot question, and then in down below, we'll put the answer. Quick stretch. Yeah, and I am using fetch just to keep it simple. We could install Axios. All right. Is this going to work on the first try? All right. Does anybody want to take a bet? Does anybody want to take a bet? Is it going to work? Is it going to work? It works. Look at this. So we have and let's make sure there's no errors in the console. There we go. So, oh, you're right. It should be _ID. So, I mean, it's technically first try. We only have one element on the page, so we don't really even need the ID yet. But yeah, you're right. We'll fix it. So look at that. What VS Code theme do you use? It's called just black. First try. First try. But yeah, this should be _ID because we are dealing with MongoDB. Awesome. Okay, so we have the list of frequently asked questions. Let's be able to create a new frequently asked question. So on the home page, we're going to add a button that allows us to create a new one, and that's going to take us to the create page. So let's grab ourselves a button, components, Not components. Elements. Button. That's pass. Oh, I guess that's all we need. Class button. Easy enough. Let's call this create. Let's see what we get. It's way over there. That's kind of ugly. What other kind of buttons do we got? We do a is success. It'll be a green button. And can I do something like margin 5? Put some spacing around it? How do I do spacing in Bulma? Layout? Helpers. Spacing. Margin top. I would have want left, right. Oh, I guess I technically only want top and bottom. I guess we'll do margin top. Margin top. No. I want top and bottom. How do I do top and bottom? Margin top and bottom. My. Okay, so that should give it margin 5 on top. I'm wasting time. Oh, there we go. Okay, nice, beautiful create button. I mean, I technically do want some margin left too. So let's just do like MX1 so it's not... That's not enough. We want MX5. Put it in a div with a class content. I like that. So we'll actually put the entire router view in a class content. So if I look in app view, we have our navbar, and then I'll have a div, and that will have class content. That'll give it some default padding, and then we'll render all of our routes inside of that content div. So that should... Did that do anything? Put the button in the navbar. I think I can add the class to the router view. Yeah, did it container? I like that. Container. Hey, look at that. Look at that. Yeah, technically I could put the button in the navbar, but I don't want to because we're wasting time. We only have 11 minutes left. Can we do it? Who has faith? Okay, so this button, actually it just needs to, if we do anchor tag, it should render in the same way, right? But I can actually make this a router link, and a router link will link to a separate route. And I want this to go to the route with the name create. So let's do this. So when I click this link, we want to go to a specific route called create. So let's create that route. So in our router, this is how all the routes are set up. It's actually pretty simple. You just bring in your components and you specify what component should load when that route is loaded. We're going to remove the about. Actually, we'll use it as an example because this shows you an example of lazy loading. So we would import the create page from views/create, and then we'll add a route for it. So when I go to /create, the name here is going to be create, and then we're going to import views/create.view. Actually, yeah, we'll do this. So don't directly import it in. We're going to do lazy loading. Oh, good job procrastinating with CJ. So we're going to lazy load that component. Whenever we go to the page, it will then actually load the component separately. So that'll be nice. That should be it. Cannot resolve views create view. What about now? Oh, it doesn't exist yet. So in our views, we actually need a create view. Create.view. Simple little template. Create. And now, if we click this button, we go to the create page. Beautiful. So for this, we need a form. We need a form where we can actually create the thing. Let's go... I guess we'll just copy this example. This is a good example, like name and email. We'll just change the second one to be a text area. All right, so we'll have a, I mean, technically I could put a form and then this will do that. We want to specify the question. For now, we'll just do, we'll put a required prop on there, so that will just be browser level validation that input is actually, or that this is specified. Let's go ahead and give it a name of question. And then we'll also specify the answer. Answer. The type is actually just text. Can we do, let's see, do we have a text area here? How does a text area work? Oh, just use text area instead of input. And then the placeholder is because. And we'll also give this a name of answer. Cool. All right, let's see what we got. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful form. Let's give it some margin top. Actually, I'm going to put margin top in the app.view. So we'll do like MT3. So the container always has margin top 3. Awesome. So question, answer. A text area can have like a rows property, right? We'll do that. Rows 4. How does a text area work? All right, we'll just leave it. We'll leave it like that. So we have that. Now we need some logics. Oh, we also need a button. Oh, the input class is killing it? Let's see. No. We need the input class that gives it the default styling. I mean, technically I can like do this, which is fine. Is it just call? Well, that's not columns. Oh. Rows. Oh, you're right. Text area needs a closing tag. And it's not... I don't think you can self-close it. Class text area? I shouldn't be spending time on this. But that did it. Great work, everyone. All right. Also, if I didn't care about making this look good, I could have just did the thing. But that's fine. We'll get there. All right, move on. Lots of CRUD. We need a button. I guess it'll be a success button as well. Put that inside the form. This will say create. And then we'll make this a type of submit. Beautiful. All right, let's make it work. We have 6 minutes left. All right, actually we'll have a use case for using slots here. This will have a setup function. Inside of here, we're going to need to return some things. In this case, we're just going to need probably the create FAQ function. We're going to expose that, and then we'll need a function that is create FAQ. And then we're going to need some reactive values. So we're going to import ref from Vue.js Composition API. Great. And then we need 2 refs. We need a question ref. Starts off as an empty string. Goes in here. And then we need an answer ref. And that also starts off as an empty string. And then we're going to expose those 2 things on our object. So we'll pass in question, we'll pass in answer. And then to hook those up to the form, I'll just use vModel. So this input has a vModel on question. And then the text area has a vModel on answer. So that basically, it automatically hooks up the binding. Now, it's not two-way binding. It automatically adds a change listener and updates the data behind the scenes, but it's a nice little helper. Okay, so for creating, we need to make an API request. Let's kind of copy what we have. I don't know if we'll have time to refactor. We only have 5 minutes. We'll do it without refactoring. Refactoring will be a separate video. We're going to rename this to create frequently asked question. We need to create a JSON body, so let's specify some options. So here, the request, the method is a post. We will have some headers to tell it that it's JSON. So the content type is application/JSON. And then the body is just going to be an object. But with that, we need to manually stringify it. So JSON.stringify an object that has the question.value as the question. And then the answer.value as the answer. Okay, so we will make a request to the API. We're going to send that. We're going to get back the data. And then if it was successful, like if this did not throw an error, we're just going to automatically redirect. So I think what I'll do is I'll just say if response.ok, redirect. Otherwise, show an error. We'll make this a to-do because we're not going to do that right now. It's just going to work on the first try. So to redirect, we actually need to tell the router to go a certain place. And so for that, there are some actual Vue hooks that we can install that give us access to the router inside of our composition function. So I'm just going to add these really quick. Add Vue hooks, and then we will need to set it up just like we did. First try. Well, like technically, like I need to get the redirect code in there before we test it, but it should work. Okay, so in here we're gonna import that. We're gonna use it like that, and then we can use router. So really, I just say router equals use router inside of here. So let's go to the create. We're going to import use router from Vue slash not Vue. We need the Vue hooks. What was the library called? There it is. U3U. All right, and so now at the top of our function, we can just say router equals use router. That gives us access to the router. And so if the response was okay, we'll say router dot push, and we want to go to the home. I want to go to the home page. In my router, I want to make sure that I actually called it home, like lowercase home. Yeah, let's call it lowercase home, like that. And that should do it. I mean, let's log the response to know that it actually happened. But when we go back to the home page, what is happening? My keyboard is messed up. This is live, Mr. PhD. I'm just trying to focus because we have a timer on. I'm not going to make it, though. We basically did list and create in about 30 minutes. Okay, wait. Okay, so we have the JSON. Is this gonna work? Let's hope for it. First try, everybody, right? First try. So question, is this live? Answer, probably. Create. Oh, we forgot to prevent, we're not even calling the function. What are we thinking? So it technically just submitted to itself, but I'll show you really quick. What's nice about this is we just say not first try. Whenever this function is submitted, when this form is submitted, call create FAQ. And a nice little helper is if we want to prevent the default action, we just say .prevent, and that will prevent the default action. Because you can see right now it did not prevent the default action. All right, let's try again. Second try. We're gonna go to create. We're gonna say, is this live? And the answer is probably. Create. Oh, look at this. So we can create. That's awesome. So we have all of our questions listing here. We can create another one too. Here. What keyboard do you use? Perfection. Second try. And I'll copy this answer here because it's a chat command. But yeah, we're out of time. I think I'm going to put 10 more minutes on the clock. If everyone is okay with me putting 10 more minutes on the clock, then we'll finish this up. Hey, Siggy Dot, thank you for that resub. Very much appreciated. One. We need a second try emote. Okay, so we can, when the page loads, we list everything. We can create new ones. We would need to add like an edit button here to be able to edit them. And then we also need to be able to delete them. So let's do that. We're going to put 10 more minutes on the clock. And I mean, whenever people see the YouTube video, they're going to see the final time. Easy, Discovery Zone. Thank you very much for that Twitch Prime sub. All right. How many seconds are in 10 minutes? 600. There we go. All right, we've added the timer. So we still need to be able to delete items. I'm just going to do that really quick. We then need to be able to update items, and then we need to refactor these into like better reusable functions instead of having everything inside the component. First of all, in here, whenever we're listing out the items, we just need to add a little button that allows us to delete that item. So I'm going to add a button. It says remove, and then we'll give it the same button class. I think it's just, is it as easy as class button? And then like is danger. Yeah, cool. So I can click remove there. Let's also give this a little bit of margin. Was it my for top and bottom? Yeah. So the cards are separated. That's great. Yeah, but when I click this button, I want to remove that specific item. So right here, I'll just say @click equals remove FAQ. And inside of our v4, it's basically scoped. So I mean, you can already see that I'm passing in, or I'm using the question in the specific answer for that thing. So here, I'm just going to pass in FAQ.id. So we want to remove that specific ID. And now we need a function for removing. So this will be very similar. We'll do an async function, remove FAQ. This is going to be a fetch to the API URL / that given ID. So remove FAQ is going to take in the ID. And then we just need to add / ID right there. It put it in a template function for me. So make a request there. The method is delete. I think that's all we need. We don't even need to specify content type because the ID is in the URL. Cool. We don't even need to parse the response. At this point, after we remove it, we just need to refresh the list. So I'm just going to call get frequently asked questions, because get frequently asked questions will then refresh the list because it makes the request again. That should be it. Remove. Oh no, what does it say? Oh, this is a good one. So here's another thing that I like about Vue.js is the errors are, they tell you exactly the problem. So property or method remove frequently asked questions is not defined on the instance but referenced during render. So, and even my linter is telling me like, hey, you're not doing anything with this function. We just need to expose it. We need to tell it, hey, there's that function that you are allowed to call. And now that should work. So we're going to remove this one. Boom, done. Removing is done. All right. Now we need update, right? Maddox, thank you for the 100 bits. So we need update. And at this point, we should actually reuse this form, right? Like right now we're calling this create, but we kind of want this to be a reusable function that's like FAQ form. And then we can pass in the functions that it should call. We could also use slots to specify how to define the button. Let's see if we can do that in about 6 minutes. So basically, I'm just going to take this create component, and I'm going to put it in its own component called FAQ form. I realize in a speed run, I could have just copy pasted the code, but we're going to try to do it right. Are we in a hype train? Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for the hype train. And so right now, it's looking for a function called create FAQ. We're actually going to do like submit form, because we're going to pass in a function that can be called on this thing. Now we're not going to actually do the API request inside of this form. We are going to call the function whenever it's submitted. We're actually going to need some props. So say props, we need submit form. So submit form will be passed down. We'll be able to pass in the form here. And I believe we get access to props right here. So we can say submit form is props.submit form, like that. And then we actually don't need the router in here. Thank you, Fishy Coding, for the 100 bits. Much appreciated. So this component is now fairly simple. It just it takes in a function for submitting the form. The other thing is we potentially need to take in the object, so that way we can pre-populate it when we're editing an existing one. So we're also going to take in a prop that is just FAQ. And now we actually don't even need these. Oh, Coding with Mike, thank you for the 100 bits. So these refs actually don't get defined here. we just say question is faq.question and or props.faq.question. Not sure if you like it. I like it. So what I'll show you is I have not shown you how it makes things reusable yet. I've only shown you how to basically define everything in one function. And that's not ideal. Okay, so this is a super simple component now. It takes in an FAQ, which has a question and answer property, and it also takes in a submit form. So now let's use this form inside of our create function. So instead of specifying the form here, we are going to specify the FAQ form. We're going to have to specify some props. So the FAQ will probably just be FAQ. We're going to define an object in our own thing called FAQ, and we use the colon to bind it. So we're saying we have an object in our component called FAQ, and we're passing it down to the form. Then we also need a submit form, and that's going to be our create FAQ question thing. Okay, so there's the form. Now, instead of exposing just question and answer, we're going to expose an object called FAQ that has a question and an answer, so that way it can be passed down to the component. We're exposing create. I should do it. Let's see. Okay, so to make sure that this is still working, we should be able to create new ones. Let's see what it's complaining about. Custom element. Yeah, I forgot to register the form. So in our create, we need to import that component. So import FAQ form from @/components/FAQ form. And then we need to expose it on here. So we'll say we have a component called FAQ form. Cool. Property or method answer is not defined on the instance, but referenced during render. This is happening where? Can't access property FAQ props is undefined. Maybe it's $props. So this is where it's messing up right here. Maybe it's $props. If not, we have to go look at the composition API. Hydrate is supposed to tell me to take a drink of water, but I'm a bit too busy trying to complete this app. We only have 2 minutes left. So let's see. Yeah, props is not there. All right, we need to look at the composition API. How do we get access to props? Oh, it's literally the first argument to set up. Okay, I did this wrong. So you're not actually destructuring it. You just get access to props like that. Easy. All right, submit form is already declared as a prop. Oh, you're right. Yeah, so we don't actually need that there. Cool. All right. Oscar does programming. Thank you very much for that Twitch Prime sub. Now, this should just work, but we've extracted into a component so that way we can use it for updating as well. But question, is this live? Answer is yes right now anyways. Create. Okay. Question is not allowed to be empty. Question. So, we are, yeah, okay, actually, check this out. Instead of that, we actually just need to do this. We need to bind it to this. So we actually don't even need a set. This is a super dumb component. It basically just takes in the function and the object, but now this binding goes back up to the thing that passed it down. That's exactly what a replay would say. Hey, Mark, what are you doing? Is this live? Yes, let's go. There we go. So that creates it, that does the redirect. Awesome. But now that we have that component, we can reuse it. So we'll create an update page. It'll be very similar to create. We'll call it update. And then the update page will have the form, but it's going to be for one specific ID. So yeah, we don't actually want create. We're going to rename that to update. Well, let's go ahead and register the route. So in our router, we need another route for update. So this will be path is /update, update / some given ID. So based on the URL, we're actually going to dynamically load the information about that specific ID. This will be called update. We're going to bring in the update component. It's going to be called update. Yeah, we called that update. Great. And we'll just need to link to that. So in our FAQ list, we're linking to remove. We now also need to link to edit. Make it yellow. And then we'll call it, we're out of time. What? Why? Okay, we'll add 10 more minutes. We'll add 10 more minutes to it. This takes time. The front end takes time, right? We had our style library. We have a lot of stuff. The thing is, after I'm done building this, we're gonna have a lot of examples to show and answer questions with. 10 more minutes. All right, we got this. We got this. So this will just be a function called edit FAQ. And edit FAQ is super simple. It just goes to the route. So we have a function, edit FAQ. We need to bring in the router, but then this will just be router.push. Name is edit. Or is it update? Did we call the route update? What did we call it? I'm lost. 10 more hours. No, we'll get it in these 10 minutes. It is called update. Should we call it edit? We'll call it update just because we're sticking to the like create, read, update, delete. Okay, so this was called edit, and then on the component itself, we need to go to the update route, and then in terms of params, the ID is the ID that was passed in to this function. Never lost. 10 more minutes. Cool. And thank you, Anam, for the 100 bits, who says, thanks for the content. You're very welcome. All right, so we need to bring in use router. From what is it called? I forget. Okay, view hooks. There it is. Yeah, if the time left is not enough, just add 10 minutes. Okay, so now that allows me to grab the router from use router. So now we can use the router. We're going to do router.push. We're going to expose edit FAQ here. So that's great. I think that should do it. So now if I click edit, it should actually take me to the create page. It does. But now what we need to do is when this page is loaded, we need to get the information about that specific ID from the API and load it into the form. It's like hitting the snooze button. Okay, so on the update page, we're going to definitely need the router in here. And I think we need like params. Let's look at the view hooks for router. Use router. I guess we just need to do route.params. Yeah. Okay. So we also need the route. And whenever the component is like mounted or basically created, we need to look at that. We need to look at the ID in the URL. Also, this is going to be called update. It's going to be a put instead of a post. We'll fix that all in a second. Okay. Update. But now, when the component loads, we need to populate the FAQ. So I'm actually going to specify FAQ as a ref that is just an object with an empty question and an empty answer. Right? So by default, it has no value here. But when the component loads, we need to get that specific one by ID. So we'll just have a little function here called get current FAQ. And then we grab the ID from route.params. Actually, let's just log that to make sure that we actually get that. And then we just need to call this when the component is loaded. And so FAQ just gets exposed like that. Cool. Show us your key presses. Do I have Keycaster? No, I don't have Keycaster. Next time. We only got 6 minutes. All right, so when the page loads, we should at least be able to get the ID from the URL. All right, what is this complaining about? Cannot access property ID. Route.params is undefined. All right, let's just log the route. We might need to do this actually in mounted instead of created because it's possible that the ID doesn't exist until the thing is mounted. So let's see what values we have inside of route. So route has a name. How do we get the params? Use getters, use actions. VS Code has a built-in keycaster? What's that called? On track for a 24-hour show. Yeah, we just keep adding 10 minutes. Presentation mode? Key? Show key presses? I don't know what it is. If anybody can tell me what it is, I'll turn. I will turn it on. Okay, how do we get params from the current route? Right? Let's just as a hunch, let's do this in mounted. So because I want to wait until the component is mounted to get the ID, I guess. So when the component is mounted, route.params.param name. Yeah, that's what I thought. Let's log. So that's route.params on created. Mounted. Let's log route.params in here. So created. Yeah, the issue is I'm using the composition API, so we don't have access to the normal way of doing it. It should be route params, and I think, is this the right thing or is it on mounted? No, it's on mounted. So when the component is mounted, we will also log the params. All right. So when they're mounted, they're undefined. When it's created, it's undefined. Why? What did I do? Okay. We're saying get the specific. Oh, do I have to do route.value? It could be that I actually have to do route.value because we're using like a specific hook. Yep. And it actually does it. Oh man. So the docs sort of told me that. They were like, where did they say that? Route.value.meta. Okay. So we've got it though, and it actually does exist on created, so that's nice. Update Java? Are you kidding me? Okay. All right. So when the component is created, we're going to grab that ID, and then we need to request it. So this will be very similar to the list itself. So right now, our component is messy. I think as a part of the speed run, everything's going to be messy, but I will take the time to refactor this, and that will actually teach you a lot about custom hooks. So we'll get there. Need to update this stuff. Give me a second. We got work to do. We got 2 minutes. We got work to do. Okay, so that will create. That does the update. When we need to get the current one, we're going to make a quick request to the API URL plus / that given ID. And this needs to be an async function. So, oh no, async, not await. We'll get there. When the page loads, request that specific one from the API, and then we'll just specify that the frequently asked question needs to do that. I think this is all I need. So now, when the page loads, it should be pre-populated with the data. Look at that. Look at that. So we can go back to the home page. We can say edit this one, and it pre-populates. Why is this complaining? Create frequently asked question is not defined. Oh, you're right. Okay, but basically, this needs to be update. We'll get there. And for those of you just joining, I'll give you a quick whirlwind tour of the app. Okay, so on the home page, you can list all of the frequently asked questions. We can go in and edit one, and this will allow us to specify it. And you see that the form pre-populates based on that ID. And actually, it should just work. So right now, our update makes a put request with that body, and then it's going to go back home. Yeah, let's do it. So is this live? Probably. And actually, we need to change the button to say update. But for now, we'll do that. Not found. Oh, you're right. Yeah. We actually need to do this. This our URL needs to be /ID, not just the API URL. Like that. Okay. This is gonna work. So, is this live? Probably. If we scroll down, yeah. So the update works. We can also remove things, which is great. We can edit them. Is that CRUD? So we can read all. I mean, technically, we don't have a read one route. But we can read all. We can edit one. It's called just black. You can see my VS Code settings here. Smile face. I need to change that to update. So we can, that's it. We have CRUD. We have CRUD. Oh, wait, thank you very much for those 40 bits. Okay, so I think I'm gonna end the YouTube video there. That's long enough for a speed run, but the code is messy. I will say, if you want to see me refactor this and make the code nicer and not as messy, then come watch on Twitch. But also, there'll be a link in the description to the archive stream where you can see the rest of this, where I make it better and like answer questions about Vue and stuff like that. Thank you everyone for watching. This was almost a speed run. We tried our best. But everyone just say bye, YouTube. Bye, YouTube. This thing. See ya. Thank you for watching. All right, we did it. We also had a bunch of support events that I totally missed, and I appreciate you all. Bosivius, Twitch Prime resub, thank you very much. Ziggy Dot, 3-month tier 1 sub, DZ Discovery Zone, Twitch Prime sub, Maddox with 100 bits, Fishy Coding with 100 bits, Coding with Mike with 100 bits, Oscar with the Twitch Prime sub, Anam with 100 bits, and Awaited with the 40 bits. Thank you all very much for your supports. Thank you, Fish. Thank you for being here. All right. Cool. So it technically works. Though we need to fix this up. And I also need to answer more Vue questions. And I think the first one that I'm going to answer is about slots. So I don't know if you're still here, Alana. But I am going to answer this question because slots this is a perfect use case for slots. So I'll show you what I mean. So right now, when we go to the create page, this form here is actually reusable. And then we have this create button. But when we go to the edit page, it's actually the exact same form, and we want this button text to be different. You are here? Awesome. So this is a perfect use case for a slot, because in this custom frequently asked question form, we can specify a slot that defines what should go inside of the button. I owe you a drink? Oh yeah, we need to do a lot of redemptions. And we got 43 follows. Thank you all for following while we're doing that. Okay, I'm going to acknowledge the follows because I appreciate you. I thank you for bearing with me through that mess of really fast code. We're gonna make it nicer though. I'm gonna convince you that Vue.js is a good thing. Kibiri, thanks for the follow. Austin Cam, thank you for being here. Earl George, thank you very much. Edash, thank you for being here. Philippe, much appreciated. Tekuto, thank you very much. Zach, thank you for being here. Drazzle, much appreciated. Kasaman Elor, thank you for following. Bito, thank you for being here. Gas Monkey, that funky monkey, thank you for being here. Uger, much appreciated. Oroji, thank you for being here. Warwick, much appreciated. Rastrian, thanks for being here. Capella Soft, I appreciate you. Dink, thanks for being here. Jibin, thank you for being here. Akumanara, also, thanks for the follow. Master Riddy, thank you for the follow. One Helios, thank you for that follow. GT Rukulo, thank you for the follow. Aline Dimarov, thank you for the follow. Simon Tech, thanks for the follow. JJ Hart, thank you for following. Chill Music Nerd, much appreciated. RizX, thanks for being here. Jizzer550, thank you for being here. Vlada, much appreciated. DZ Discovery Zone, thank you for the follow. Young Replicant, much appreciated. Itus, thank you for being here. The Countess, and Just, and Guzmop, and Oliver, and Overdrive, and Ping, and Audio Boy, and Tungsten, and Choco Bear, and Armstrong, and Willow, and Werfram, and that guy Raz. Thank you all very much for the follows. I appreciate you. Thanks for being here. Yeah. And now we have redemptions. I mean, technically, I've been streaming for 2.5 hours. I should probably take a break. But we have another focus mode. Maybe we'll use that to talk about slots. Robinson, thank you for the hydrate. Cheers. Rima, thank you for that posture check 54 minutes ago. And Kosh, thank you for the hydrate. Cheers. Bones, thank you for the posture check. Put it on the frequently asked questions list. What is that yellow can? Let's put it on there. It's so meta. Jamoke Dev, thank you for that subscription. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Okay, question. What is that? What's that yellow can? Slash, what are you drinking? Yerba mate. It is a carbonated, highly caffeinated. How do you spell caffeine? Caffeine? Highly caffeinated tea drink. There we go. And also, we have I drink it so much that we have an emote. Let's all... My mug is empty? There's a little bit of water in there. Let's drop earbuds. Hey, what's up, Illuminated Space? You had a coworker tell you mate is not caffeinated. No, it is caffeinated. I mean, so I before I started drinking buy it in a can at the store, I used to actually brew the tea. And the reason was I read about it. I read that the type of caffeine that's in it is very different from the type of caffeine that is in coffee. It's like a different isomer chemistry. I don't know, but it gives you a slightly different caffeinated feeling than what you get with coffee. I don't know, but there is coffee. There's definitely caffeine. I mean, this is hey, Florin. Thank you for the raid. Welcome, Raiders. Check out Florin. What's up, Milky Dev? Oh, thank you. Yeah, I streamed some music last night too. But also, Florin Raid. Check out Florin. I think Florin said hi. Click that link, drop a follow. He used to stream over on YouTube just like I do. Welcome, Ivan and Smiley and Sandy Ross. Wait, you're probably already here. The drops are not colliding. Oh! We turned off collision because we had like hundreds and hundreds of drops. Yeah. Oh well. I need to catch up. Thank you, Bones, for that posture check. We were trying to speed up the drops. I totally forgot. Well, thank you, Anam. Artists, thank you for the hydrate. Cheers. Gotta drink it the right way. Slake, thank you for the hydrate. Nomo Requity, thank you for the hydrate. See you later, Conic. Thank you for hanging out with us. Darn Spotted Cat, thank you also for the hydrate. Cushy Mushy, cheers. So here's the thing. They've slowly changed the ingredients in for this tea. Like, it used to only have 16 grams of sugar. Now, it has 24 grams of sugar. Or maybe they used to list it as per serving instead of per can. I don't know. But there's 24 grams of sugar. It's like a soda. It's basically like a tea soda. Yeah. Clement, thank you for that stretch. Mr. PhD, thank you for the hydrate. We're live. We are live, Mr. PhD. Oscar does programming with the posture check. Bearded Wrench with the hydrate. Hello Chicken with the stretch. Thank you. Almighty Santi with the hydrate. Cheers. T13 with the stretch. Much appreciated. Artis also with the stretch. Declan with the posture check. Stand up straight. And Smiley, thank you for the hydrate. Come on, Mosa. That's silly. Who followed? Hey, M79, thank you for being here. Okay, let's answer some questions. So we had this question from Alana that says practical use of scope slots. So in Vue, if you basically want to create a reusable component that allows you to specify the way something should render different, you can use scope slots. Oh, no. You're talking about scope slots, which is actually different from slots. I see. Scope slots are awesome. Actually, let me show you. We could create our own little component that exposes the data via a scope slot. Let's do that. But before that, quick introduction to slots. And we'll do an 8-minute focus mode for this. Yeah, so I'll show you scope slots in a second. But first, what are slots? We got to start somewhere. Today? And thank you, Creative Token. Okay, so slots. Now, the example that I was showing is when we go to the create page, this component that we're showing here is actually the same component as whenever we go to the edit page. But you can see right now that it has the word create. So what I want to do is, as a consumer of the form component, I want to be able to specify what should render inside of the button. And for that, we use a slot. So what I'll do right here is when I use the frequently asked question form, I could do something like slot or template, and we'll say that the slot is the button. And because we're in the update component, I actually want this to say update. And then whenever we're in the create component, I actually want that slot to say create. And I guess the other thing is, I also could, instead of just like text, actually let's put the entire button, because that will allow us to specify like different classes. It's fine. No, we're gonna do that. And so at this point, we've done nothing. We have the slot, but we need to actually use it. So inside of the frequently asked question form, so the update component is creating an instance of the frequently asked question form component. The create component is using an instance of the frequently asked questions form component. But they're both specifying this slot button. So inside of the component itself, I can specify what that slot should be. So right here, I'm going to put slot, and I'm going to say name equals button. And now, whatever the consumer of the component passes down will be rendered at that specific location. So look at that, we did it. So it says update when we're here. Let me fix this really quick. This should be, wait, no, the nav bar should link to hash slash. So when we go here and we go to create, it says create. When we go here and we go to edit, it actually says update. Slots are great. They allow you to basically create a reusable component, but also allow people to specify what can be rendered inside of them. And what I'm showing you right now is named slots. So you can see that we actually name the slot button. It's also possible to have just like a default slot. So like if you're using a component library and you wanted to have like a custom cool button like this, and then you wanted people to be able to just pass in text without putting a template with a slot name, this is just using the default slot, and you just put slot without putting a name on it. But that's slots. It's basically a way of allowing custom rendering without doing too much weird stuff. In the React world, you would use React.children and like conditionally render things based on React.children, but this is really nice because we can just use our template syntax to specify things. And it can be, like, it doesn't have to be text. It could be like HTML. I could put like an H1 here if I really wanted to, and that's going to render that H1 inside of that slot. And that would be on the create page. Did I save it? You know what? It might actually just have a style override. Yeah, you can see the H1's there, but the actual button class is overriding the font size. But still, you can put custom content there. You can put an icon. That's like a way of allowing people to really customize the components that you provide for them. Okay, so that's a slot. Now, scoped slots. Let's talk about those, because those are super interesting. And for that, I'm actually just going to do some refactoring. H1, yeah, you're right. It shouldn't be there. I just wanted to show some actual rendering. What would be better to do? I don't know. We don't have an icon library, but okay, it's gone. I'm using Firefox. Let's close all of these, and let's do some refactoring. So up until this point, all of our components are really messy. All of our components have like the API request code just embedded right in the component. In the real world, you don't want to do that. You want to extract it out so that it's reusable, and I'll show you how we can do that, like with our frequently asked question list. So the frequently asked question list, when the component is mounted, it requests all of the frequently asked questions. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to refactor this into a into a hook that allows us to use the frequently asked questions. So let's do this. We're going to create a directory called hooks. And it's technically just a composition function. There's honestly, like, in the thing with Vue and the composition API is there's really nothing special about hooks. Hooks are just functions. Hooks can actually do anything you want. There's no like special rules about them like there are in React, but you can use them in the same way. So we're going to create a hook called use FAQs. Just like this. And so this is going to export a function called use FAQs. And it kind of behaves just like our setup function, where basically whatever is returned from this function is usable by the outside world. So in this case, we want to have our FAQs internally, and that's just a ref to an empty array to begin with. We'll import ref from Vue hooks, not Vue hooks, the composition API. Like this. And so basically we're going to take this complex code here, get frequently asked questions, and we're going to move this into that function. So basically I can just cut that. I can move it right here. And then the thing that I want to expose is the frequently asked questions object. So, hey, Vape Juice Jordan, thank you for the resub. Much appreciated. So I'm actually going to expose these two things. Yeah, you're allowed to upvote your own question. Yeah, but quick shout out to Vape Juice Jordan. Thank you for being here. Fog. Oh, I did it wrong. There you go. Click that link, drop a follow. Okay, so now as you can see, this is our hook. It doesn't have a template. It's all about data. So this specific hook just has an internal state called frequently asked questions. It has a function that will update that internal state, and then we're going to expose both of those things. So now we just need to use this. So over here, we can import that function in. So we'll just say import use FAQs from, go to that hooks directory and grab use FAQs, like that. And now we just use it. And so because that returns an object, we can destructure it. I don't need to use ref in here anymore. I can just say FAQs and what was that function called? Get FAQs. That comes from use FAQs. That's simple. So basically, all we did was we took that code out of this setup function, and then we put it into its own function, and now we can really just use this anywhere we want. Currently, every time we use it, it actually has its own internal state. We could actually incorporate Vuex if we wanted it to have shared state across wherever we use it, but it's good enough. Right now, I'm actually just I'm gonna extract this API URL, so that way we can reuse it in multiple places. Give me a second. So import API URL from an API URL file. And then at the root level, I'm just going to add a API URL file. Export default API URL. Or no, export default that. So this literally just exports a string. Cool. That should be able to bring it in. Why is this complaining? Missing file extension? There we go. Okay, so that brings in the API URL. And then we could also bring it in over here because we have some other functions that we still actually need to extract. But that was just a quick little lesson on Vue hooks. Basically, you take the code that was inside of the function, you move it into its own function, and it should still work now. So we've exposed those two things. And if we go to the home page here, it still works, so we still get the data. I didn't change my keyboard. I'm actually using RTX voice, which is suppressing all of the extra noise, so you actually don't hear the clickety-clack of my keyboard. I'm planning on learning TypeScript. Any suggestions? No, the TypeScript docs are great. I'll say that. Yeah. Heart. Fake Nation. Okay, so beautiful. We've extracted a hook. If you learned about Vue hooks, type 1 in the chat. You do hear the keyboard, but it's very slight compared to the actual sound. And actually, if you think this is useful, type 2 in the chat. If you don't know how you got here, type 3 in the chat. But nice. The interesting thing is we can do very similar things with these other functions, right? We can just extract them out and use them in multiple places. How'd you get here? All right, thank you, everyone. Okay, now back to the question at hand, scoped slots. Watch this. So what I want to do is I want to create a component that actually has a slot that exposes data. So in not only do we have just this, instead of having like this hook here, use frequently asked questions, I'm actually going to have a component that exposes that. So this is basically how it will work. So instead of having frequently asked questions on my data, we're going to create a component that exposes that array of frequently asked questions. So it would work like this. So something like use FAQs is a component, and then inside of it we have the template, and then we'll say like slot scope, and then we'll destructure FAQs from it. Why is this complaining? Define but never use. That's fine. Okay, so then we could take all of this, and put it inside this scope slot. So we showed slots earlier with just like simply passing down text, but now we could create this component that actually this component holds onto the data and then exposes it in a scope slot scope here. Right? Is everyone following? You see where we're going to go with this? So basically, instead of using this hook inside of here, we would actually use that hook inside of our use FAQs function. Okay, let's go there though. So we're going to create a component. Can I start over? No, we've been coding too long. I'm going to create a component called use FAQs, and this is basically just going to be a very simple wrapper component that exposes the data. So we'll do this. We're going to bring in the thing that we already extracted. So basically this. Well, we need a setup function. Need this. And this will basically return this. I have to figure out how we're going to expose get frequently asked questions. We might actually move this data into the store instead of being just inside of the hook, but we'll talk about that in a second. And then use FAQs needs to be imported in. So we'll import this in from hook/use FAQs. Great. Now I need to figure out the syntax to expose this as a slot. So I think we do something like slot, and then slot scope equals an object with FAQs in it, and that should basically we have a default slot that exposes FAQs as some data here. I need to look at the syntax. Quick stretch. I could use @ for import. I just wasn't getting editor autocomplete, so I stopped doing that. Components can be dumb. They don't necessarily need behavior. Like our navbar component is just the navbar. Right now it doesn't have any functions. It's literally just a navbar, and that's fine. Eventually it might get some functionality because you could have like a logged in or logged out drop down or something like that. Okay. I need to look up the docs for slot scope. How does this work? Slot. Scope slots. Abbreviated syntax for lone scope slots. So, let's look at the top. Scope slots. Okay, so do I need a vbind? So to make user available to the slot content in the parent, we can bind user as an attribute to the slot element. That goes from child to parent. I want to go from parent to child. Think? Oh, well, I think what it's telling me is actually I just need to do this. I just need to bind it. Like, I don't need slot scope here. I just need to say FAQs equals FAQs like this. And why is this complaining? Template root, yeah, so, well, for this scenario, we're actually just going to put it inside of a span. So here's one of the gotchas of Vue.js 2.0 is you do need a top-level element. I don't know if we have fragments in Vue. We definitely have fragments. And actually, you don't even need a top-level element in Vue.js 3. That's one thing that they're fixing. So I'm just going to wrap it in a span. So that way it doesn't affect the styling or anything like that. I mean, we could wrap it in a div. Oh, well. But this should say, expose the frequently asked questions as in the default slot. And then over here in the list, I'm saying let's grab the frequently asked questions from that. Does this work? Does it work? Let's go to the home page. Let's see what error we're getting. Get FAQs is not fun. Oh, we need to fix our template because right now, this was attempting to call get frequently asked questions, and we need to figure out how to get that into the component because it's a function. FAQs is not defined. Yes, you're right. Now we don't need it in our data anymore because it's being exposed from that component. All right, what other error are we getting? We need to register the component. So look at this. The errors in Vue.js are just beautiful. They tell me exactly what I need to do. We need to import this component. And then we register it. Components is this with that and that. Did I spell components wrong? Components use FAQs. Oh, lowercase s. Well, I think front-end frameworks will have less in them eventually. Like there'll be more and more just built into the web browser that libraries can use. And so I think people will basically use small libraries rather than larger libraries. Yeah. Well, thank you, Crafty Box. All right, will this work? It doesn't. We don't see the data at all. I need to figure out how to use slots because it's been a while. Oh, this is deprecated syntax with slot scope. And then attributes bound to a slot element are called slot props. Now in the parent scope, we can use vslot with a value defined with slots. No, I don't. That's not what I want. All right, see you later, PJ Keller. Thank you for hanging out with us. Slot props. Sometimes it's useful for slot content to have access to data only available in the child component. Sure. All right. See you later, Maddox. Thank you for being here as well. That won't work because we only have current user. Does anybody know? Just gotta look up a tutorial or an article on it. Vue, scoped slots. Vue slows my VS Code to a halt. Oh no. I prefer my keyboard sounds too. I'm not learning Vue. I'm just trying to remember the syntax for scope slots. So, I mean, yeah, technically I'm learning about scope slots. Get your head around scope slots. That's me right now. I mean, not really. I know how they work. I just can't figure out the syntax. Okay. Yeah, let me learn this real quick so I can explain it to you. There's that. Okay, scope slots. Slot. My prop equals hello from child. No. Oh, am I thinking about this in the wrong way? Yeah. What's up, Quinn Musk? If Twitch would be built for programming, is there any feature you'd like to see? Potentially like code sharing, but we can always do that with VS Code live share. I'd have to think about it. So all of the examples I see are basically inside of the parent component like this. It gets access to data that's passed down by the consumer of the component. I don't want that. It's only overcomplicated because I don't have the syntax memorized, and so it seems complicated. But I'll show you why it's useful in a second. Okay, that's dumb. Dumb. Yes, I said it was dumb. Is used when you want a template inside a slot to access data from the child component that renders the slot content. Wait, why did I think it could go in the other direction? I'm pretty sure it can go in the other direction. All of these examples are from child to parent instead of parent to child. To create the scope, we just need to add a prop in the slot tag with the data slot scope. Well, that's the thing. I want to go the opposite direction. I want the parent to pass down data or expose data to the child. View. Scope. Slot. Pass data from parent to child. Yeah, okay, slot scope. This is kind of, I think this is the initial syntax that I tried, but then I changed my mind because I just tried to pass it down. So we need to say slot scope equals this. This is the parent. Wait, no. V-slot. So V-slot in the child here. Like that. Wrong. Okay. I swear you can do it too. We just can't remember how. Okay, so you need to use a scope slot. You're almost there. The template that creates the scope. So do you need a template or do you need a slot? Okay, so then in the slot... Oh, okay, so I think I had it wrong. So the child I had a slot scope, but it needs to be V-slot. And then the parent does just bind it. The parent just passes it down. Yeah, even pros struggle, especially because I haven't used this in a long time. This is the winner. Are you all ready to be excited? And then we can take, like, here's the thing. If I remembered the syntax, it would have taken like 5 seconds to explain what it's doing. I just forgot the syntax. But who's ready? It's gonna work. It's gonna work. Are you ready? It doesn't work. It doesn't work. We're preparing to talk. All right, let me actually just look at. Oh, you know what it is? You know what? We're not calling get frequently asked questions automatically. Pretty sure. Yeah. I think that's the other thing is in the use facts component, we actually need to get the frequently asked questions when it's mounted. So there literally was no data as well. Okay, so here we go. This is the winner, and then I'll take a step back and explain all of it. Bow! Pow, 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 pow. That was disappointing. Hey. All right. Thank you all for bearing with me. Let's take a step back and explain why this is useful. So we have this component. This is really, I mean, if you've ever used some of the more like data-driven components in like even React and Vue, is they basically allow you to, this is kind of like the context API, right? You basically can have a top-level component that exposes data to like child components. So this top-level component called use frequently asked questions is super simple. It's literally just a component that exposes the default slot and passes the frequently asked questions into them. And so this component is uses this hook to request the frequently asked questions and also expose them. But then over here, we are just a consumer of that. So we basically wrap our component in use frequently asked questions. And actually, we don't even need this parent div anymore. Like this. So we wrap our component in this use frequently asked questions component. And then we say, hey, we want to get those frequently asked questions that are exposed by the parent. And then we can use them. So basically, it's a way of exposing data from a parent component down to a child component, right? So this exposes frequently asked questions, and this renders and uses whatever is exposed by that. And it also, like, it keeps this component simple because it doesn't have to do the data fetching or anything else like that. Okay, so there's that. Now, one thing I need to do is I need to figure out a way to have this component request get frequently asked questions. And I think for that, we're going to move into Vuex. But the question that we were answering is basically, when are they useful? And it's when you want to expose data. Now, you could do some other really cool things. Like, let me just show you some examples of other things that you could do. You'd have to implement it, but you could do something like use fetch. And then that would expose, or you could have your template, no, your slot here. And then that could have your loading, data, and error. And basically, this is like declarative data fetching, right? Like, you probably could say use fetch and then pass down a prop like URL equals https://some API.com. And then you can use that data inside of your component. So this is like a really nice way to encapsulate that functionality. Instead, like, they're kind of two different ways, right? Because you could extract this functionality into a hook or like a special function, reusable function, or you could do it like in this component way, which is pretty cool, right? Does everyone see the power of this? Like, this is another example of that. My first language is JavaScript. No, I speak English. You don't see it. That's okay, Frozen. I need to try answering more questions. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. I'm gonna eat some granola bar. Okay. I prefer a 2-space tab. Let's see. All right, if you've asked a question, type ! here in the chat. And your question will be bubbled up to the top. Well, it'll no longer be gray, and I'll try to answer it. Cool. I'm about it. What do you have, Andrew? Are you just trolling, Andrew? Well, thank you, one line of me. Thank you, Doc. All right, I actually need to go. So I'm going to do my best to answer a few questions here. I'm also going to show you Vuex because it's actually really easy to use. And what I'm going to do is here, instead of just using a local array and a local function, I'm actually going to use just a state variable and an action. And that way I can trigger get facts from anywhere in my app instead of just from the hook. But regardless, let's answer this question. Is Vue 3 and Vue 2 the same? So if you're keeping up to date, Vue 3 is currently in release candidate. They have some things to work out. So it's at this GitHub repo, Vue.js/Vue next. You technically can use it today, but it's like beta. even though it is an RC, there are things that need to be done. So, but this is the latest version of Vue. All the stuff that I've been showing you is Vue 2 with the Composition API plugin, which allows you to write things in a similar way as to how you would write them with Vue 3. So if you check out Vue next, you can see the status of the rest of the framework. So right now, all of the RFCs, or the requests for comments, have been merged and implemented in Vue 3. It's like ready to go. But the main thing is, like, when you use Vue, you also use Vuex, and you also use the Vue CLI, and you also use like the Vue router. And so currently, those are still in progress to get them up to speed and ready to work directly with Vue 3 without bugs and stuff like that. However, the question is, are they the same, and should I learn Vue 3? Now, all of the things you know about Vue 2 are absolutely just applicable to Vue 3. You can still write components in the same way for the most part. There are breaking changes, but they didn't change the syntax. They didn't change like how things work overall. Like, everything you know about Vue 2 will still work in Vue 3. And then this composition API stuff that I'm showing you here with like the setup function and creating custom hooks and stuff like that, you don't have to use that. So the nice thing about it is you can continue doing things the way we used to do things. And so the way we used to do things is like inside of our component, if we wanted state, we actually have a data property. And this is a function that returns an object that has all of our state on it. And if we want to tap into lifecycle methods, then we have like our mounted hook or our created hook. And if we wanted computed properties, then we had our computed hook, like, or our computed option. So this is the options style, and Vue.js 3 allows us to no longer have to do this. Instead, we just specify a single setup function, and inside of that setup function, whatever you return in this object is exposed on the template. So things like reactive properties or functions, you expose them here. So you can write it this way, and I'll admit, I'll probably start writing things this way, especially with Vue 3, but you can continue doing it the old way too if you don't want to convert to this new way. The other thing is breaking changes. I think we can see potentially somewhere breaking changes in Vue 3. And well, let's look at this step 2. It was written on May 4th. Yeah, so one of the breaking changes is that instead of creating a new Vue instance, you just call a function that is create app. If you're upgrading your code base, that's a very simple change, right? You go from new Vue to create app. That's one. Allow multiple V models. Let's see. Cool. Yeah, so the event bus was actually deprecated. The thing is, I actually did not use this that much, but this is where you could emit events from child components and then listen for those events in parent components, and it's like a way to communicate. The way I always did it is because, like, I did a lot of React, is you can just pass a function down. So just like in React where you pass a function down to a child component, and that child component can call the function, you can do that instead. Let's see what they have to say about the event bus not being there anymore. Yeah, and technically you could still use the event bus pattern, because like you could create, like, one of the things I haven't talked about is these reactive properties that we're creating. These here. There's nothing special about them. They're reactive everywhere. You could literally define this anywhere. Like you could export it from just a plain JavaScript file, and it's still reactive everywhere in your Vue app. So you technically could create your own event bus that like emits events, and then you have like a send and an on function, and then you can listen globally in your app. Like you can do that. They've just deprecated it from in Vue 3. Yeah, and so you can all of these have some reason behind it. So you can see the motivation here. So in Vue 2, we removed dispatch and broadcast in favor of more state-driven data flow. Vue's emit can be used to trigger events. Yeah, so where does it talk about the actual change? Oh, I see. No, actually, I'm pretty sure I am mistaken. I'm pretty sure you can still emit from parent to child components, but this is like an external event bus. Right, this is like you've created your own event bus and you're using it in all of your components. This is no longer possible because you can't create a Vue instance anymore. I think that's all that's saying. There's no more filter syntax. That's about it. So 4 or 5 things that you potentially have to change. It's not bad. But from child, emit the event from the child to the parent. So check out this article. There's probably other articles as well, but who was around whenever Angular upgraded from Angular 1 to Angular 2? Just like raise your hand if you were here for that. Yeah, event bus is deprecated, but the other thing is, hello Alka, how's it going? I was live. I don't remember it. Someone's crying. Yeah, they're still traumatized. So I was there. I was here. So the thing about Angular 1 being upgraded, or when they changed the library to Angular IO and they went from version 1 to version 2, they like it was a complete rewrite. So Vue 3 is actually a complete rewrite, but the majority of the things have remained the same. Like the library itself has been rewritten, but the way you use it is basically the same. Angular 2 is a whole different beast. Like there's new syntax that requires you to use TypeScript. There's all just so many more things that you have to do. And like the community, like for the most part, anybody that didn't, or I guess didn't feel like dealing with it, like they just dropped Angular. And I think here's the thing. This kind of just popped into my mind. I haven't thought about it that much, but I think that's why so many people switch to React. They're like, all right, you're going to make me learn a new thing anyways. I'm going to go ahead and start using React instead because that's the new hotness and what everyone was using anyways. So I think Angular was because they did that, and because it was like, for whatever reason, people are still using it, but it's totally new. It's totally different. Like if you look at Angular 1, it's extremely different. But that was right around the time that React got pretty popular, I'm pretty sure. New conspiracy theory. They did it on purpose so that people would use React instead. I don't know. Type 1 in the chat for React. What was I saying? It was a quick transfer from Angular to Vue. Yeah, but Vue 1, I think, was around at that time. I'm not sure if Vue 2 had come out yet. But Vue takes a ton of influence from Angular 1. Like Vue.js is like the middle ground between Angular 1 and React. It uses a virtual DOM like React, but it has nice, easy to use directives like you had in Angular 1. It solves a lot of the problems with Angular 1, like things like having a global root scope and being able to change stuff like that, but I don't know. Yeah, I'll talk about reactive in a second. I'll show you right now on the Vue.js website. So reactive just means that when the data changes, the view changes. So if you go to the Vue.js documentation, Vue.js.org, you can see this simple example here where I have an app component. It has this data called message, and then the template is just rendering that message. And we actually see that example right here. But if I say app.message equals, who are you? Who are you? Abdo. Abdoob. Hello. Boom, the page instantly updates. So that's all it means to be reactive, is that the template will automatically react to any sort of data that, any sort of change that happens. And hot take, Vue is actually more reactive than React is. Yeah, I saw you, Abdu. So reactive just means that it reacts to changes. All right. Faya. All right, Lychee has a question. For super simple websites using Webpack, what alternatives would you recommend to Vue, as it seems overly complicated and a lot to learn for basic sites? I would recommend using something like Parcel, because Parcel is, you heard it here first. Parcel is very easy to just set up, like get an app going. It might support Vue out of the box, or you might have to add a plugin for it. So Parcel is nice. Also, there is like I believe there's still a simple Webpack starter for Vue, like Vue Webpack starter. haven't heard of Snowpack. Well, I have heard of it. People have mentioned it before, but I've never used it. Snowpack.dev. Sure. It seems like that would be similar to Parcel. Honestly, I would avoid a lot of these templates and boilerplates because they're not official. You technically can still use, because the way we used to create apps was Vue init. So if you have the Vue CLI, you could do Vue init. Let's see what this does. Yeah, you need to specify the template. And so here you could actually do the Webpack simple template, I think. Let's see if this works. We need this global add-on. Vue init Webpack simple. Let's see what this does. Downloading template. Let's call it test. There's that. There's that. There's that. There's that. Let's see what we get. We have our index.html. It's loading the build. We have our source directory with our main file and our app file, which is great. And then there is our simple Webpack config. So you could do something like this, and this is like an officially supported template. It's not like some starter kit that somebody created. So you could do that. You also, like, depending on the type of app you're building, you could just add a script reference to the Vue CDN and then just use it directly there. I'll show you like the one of the to-do app. Or like you're rolling your own framework or rolling your own like starter kit. Coding Garden, Vue, to do. You probably need to refresh the page, Andrew. Something might have gone wrong. So I'll show you in this intro video. That's me. That's me with long hair. That's the intro to Vue video. And if you look at the code, we actually just use a CDN. So we don't even use any build tools at all. If you look at the index.html, we literally just link to Vue on a CDN. We bring in our script file, and then our template is just directly in our HTML. There's no build process at all. Vue is able to actually compile this template like inside the browser. No need for a build process. So there's that. Apollo GraphQL! Welcome! Are you the real deal? Welcome to the show. What were you streaming about? Welcome, Raiders. Do-do-do-do. What's new in GraphQL this week? Very cool. Thank you all for being here. Welcome, welcome. Hey, what's up, Trevor from Apollo Land? Welcome, welcome. Yeah, so we're talking about Vue. It actually could be really fun to show an example of. There's an Apollo client for Vue. I don't know. I kind of have to go though. You just rated, but I'm running out of time. But welcome to the Coding Garden. So you're writing your app from scratch. Oh, I see. How to clean a MacBook Pro screen. There are screen wipes. But welcome, Raiders. Welcome to the Coding Garden. We do a lot of different things here. Today, I'm specifically answering questions about Vue.js, but other days I answer like questions about like anything web and programming related. But today we're trying to answer Vue stuff. And what else? Sometimes we build apps. Sometimes we do fun things, but I thank you all for being here. Thank you for the raid. Okay. This is not a Vue-related question. We're going to skip that. I'm going to answer 2 more questions, and then I have to go. And actually, anybody that came in with the raid, if you have a Vue question, I can try to answer it. Akash says, when using Firebase with Vue, the bundle size is too large. Have you come across that issue? Do you have any tips regarding that? I don't have any tips on this. I think the one thing you could potentially do is, hey, Sean B, thank you for that Twitch Prime sub. But whenever you're bringing in the Firebase dependency, you should potentially bring in the specific things that you need. So if you look at the Firebase dependency, it actually has submodules. So like there's a submodule for Firestore, there's a submodule for authentication, there's a submodule for cloud messaging. There's basically a submodule for each one of these things. And instead of bringing in all of them, You only bring in the ones that you need. So you can see, like, they show an example here with the CDNs, but you can do a very similar thing with your imports, because if you import that specific thing, then your Webpack bundle doesn't need to add the entire Firebase library. 150K? Wow. Yeah. So here's how you would do it in npm. So make sure that you're bringing things in this way. You're directly import firebase/app, firebase/auth, firebase/database, and those are going to be specific files. And then the other thing is only import them in the files that need to use them, because then Webpack could potentially automatically do some lazy loading so that it only brings in those things when they're needed. So like on the home page, if you're not using the database, it's possible that you don't have to import that file. So your initial page render is a lot faster, because then when you go to a page that needs it, it'll load that in. So that's kind of just like general JavaScript advice, not really just Vue. But yeah, thank you for the question. Explain VueFire. No. If Vue is a framework and React is a library, that means we can use React inside Vue. If you really wanted to, you could. You shouldn't, though, because Vue provides everything that you need, so you really wouldn't need to use React inside of Vue. How does Vue routing or React routing work under the hood? A couple of things. So in the web browser, there is a built-in event called hash change. And the hash change event gets called anytime the hash in the URL changes. So actually, I believe if I do like this, you see that the hash examples jumps down to the examples section. Or if I do hash specifications, it jumps down to the specifications section. So every web page can have these things called titles, and then you can actually link to them with hash. So before we started using history mode, the hash routing was the way that it worked. And basically, all the router does is it listens for whenever the hash changes. And when the hash changes, it dynamically changes the contents that's visible visible on the page itself. So in this app that we were building, I'm actually using hash routing. So if I go to the edit page, what's happening is just JavaScript. I'm not physically going to another page. I'm actually, the JavaScript engine is just, or not, sorry, the Vue engine is just replacing the contents that we see in the center. So we can see right here, here's our container. And then if I go back to the home page, watch, the form is going to disappear. And it becomes a div. And so that is JavaScript just dynamically changing the elements. And all it had to do was listen for hash change, because look at this URL. When that goes here, it changes. And so then JavaScript kicks in. It's like, oh, hash change. Let's figure out what route we need to render. So hash change is one way. You can learn about that. And then the other way is the browser's history API. So it's possible to change the browser URL with just JavaScript. I wouldn't call it archaic. Like, honestly, I call it easier to work with. So I actually prefer hash routing because you can deploy it to a static server with zero configuration. But if you enable history mode, you will need to configure that static file host to redirect all requests to your root. And so, for example, if I refresh this page, you see that we instantly load this particular route. But if we were using history mode, we would get rid of the hash, and then now my server would need to be configured to redirect this request to the root, because that's what would need to happen. So I wouldn't call it archaic. I would call it awesome. Yeah, so you'd have to redirect doing that. Okay, so the history API is the thing that we're calling not archaic, which is like the modern way of doing things, and it's just JavaScript that allows you to actually replace the URL. So if you look here, actually, let's refresh this page, and I'm going to do history.push, and so this is just built into the browser. This is nothing Vue or React related. This is just browser stuff. So push state. What do we need, like a URL like wow something? No. How does this work? History.push state. Interfaces, history, methods, push state. State, title, URL. Okay, so we should be able to do our state is empty object, title is empty string, and our URL is /wow. So watch this. Watch the URL. Wow. So JavaScript is actually it's able to change the URL without making a request to a server, and that's the history API. So modern routers are pretty much using this history API. Wow. So check that out. And if you like, and so I mean, I keep saying it's just JavaScript. Like, these things are built into the browser, and then React Router uses this mechanism to work, and Vue Router uses this mechanism. If you're interested in seeing me write a router from scratch, you can search for Coding Garden Vanilla MVC. And so this was a talk that I did where I made like a super dumb, simple MVC front-end framework really fast. And in that, we built a super basic router, and we used hash routing. So basically, we had a route match on a regular expression. When it changed, we dynamically changed the content. But yeah, you can check that out. Okay, I think that's it. I have to go. I realize I didn't answer many questions. I tried my best. Then we got distracted. We started the stream off just talking about like why you would choose React over Vue, and I feel like it got somewhat heated. Let me answer like one more. What's the difference between a component like a library like Vuefy and just using Bulma? Which do I recommend for a front-end beginner? So the thing about CSS frameworks is that for one, they do just provide styles. And in the example app that I showed today, we only used Bulma for the styles. Like, this gives us like nice little cards. You've got nice little buttons and a nav bar. We're literally just using the styles. We're not using any of the interactivity. And for Bulma, if you want to use the interactivity, you have to add their JavaScript library. So for interactivity, there are things like modals. Let's see. You have a modal, and then there's actually JavaScript that kicks in that decides that this modal should be displayed. And hey, Jitter Ted, we're about to end. Thank you for being here. But JavaScript is required to get this working. And if you look at the getting started for Bulma overview, start, you also need to potentially add the JavaScript. Where is it? Functions? Is it custom JavaScript? No way. Bulma's literally just CSS? Okay, never mind. I'm mistaken. So I'm actually very curious how they expect modals to work. It has no JS at all? Okay, so how would we actually get the modal working? Oh, look at this big disclaimer right here. Bulma does not include any JavaScript interaction. You will have to implement the class toggle yourself. I see. So on this example on this page, they wrote their own custom JavaScript that toggles the class. So what Vuefy gives you, Vuefy is a component library for Vue.js. Yeah, so on click, add the class. But in Vue, you might do that in a slightly different way. Like, you could have like a data property that is the currently bound class, and you only set that whenever the element is clicked on. I mean, I know you can make a modal, but can you make it appear without JavaScript on click? That's the tricky part. But what Vuefy gives you is actually it implements that functionality. So they provide like the modal class. And Godhacks, thank you very much for the host. Thank you for being here. We're gonna end pretty soon, but I appreciate you. Thank you for dropping by. What are we looking at? Modals. Okay. And so they basically provide like a very declarative way. Actually, do they? I think Vuefy modals are ones that I don't like. But actually, yeah, you can bind it. So you can say this modal is active based on this reactive property, and this modal will appear when this property is true. So Vuefy has basically implemented all the custom JavaScript that's required for any of the things that need to be interactive for Bulma. However, if you need to do things that don't require JavaScript, when you look at the Vuefy documentation, they just tell you, hey, go look at the Bulma docs. So if you look here for card, there actually is no Vuefy card component. They basically say, just do it the Bulma way. The Vuefy only provides the JavaScript interactivity, and it does that through Vue components. F? Why are we saying F? So the question on why we should use one over the other, I would say if you don't need the interactivity, if you don't need like modals and you don't need some of the maybe potentially like drop downs or accordions, if you don't need those things, then you could just use Vuefy by itself. But Bulma is going to give you the interactivity. And I'll say the same thing applies to like Vue Bootstrap or Bootstrap Vue. And then this is where I got confused, because Bootstrap does require JavaScript and it requires jQuery. But typically when you're using something like Vue, you don't use jQuery. You don't use any sort of thing that would manipulate the DOM. You let Vue handle all of that. So with regular Bootstrap, typically you would need to add the JavaScript to get the functionality of like modals and stuff like that. But with Bootstrap Vue, you don't need to do that. They've basically implemented everything with Vue components, and then jQuery and the Bootstrap JavaScript is not required. Yeah, you're welcome, Arsro. All right, I gotta go. This has been fun. I hope this was useful for some people. Type 1 in the chat if this stream was useful. Type 2 in the chat if you don't know why you're still here, but it wasn't useful. Thank you for your question, Arsro. So here's the thing. We got so many questions today, and I barely was able to answer them. I try my best. Well, thank you, everyone. I'm glad. Fantasy Teapot with the 4. The 1.5. I'll answer this one really quick. I haven't really done much server-side rendering with Vue, but Nuxt is the go-to. It's what pretty much anyone would use if you're server-side rendering. Okay. Last one. How to do the Google Maps API or Leaflet. So I'll mention this is like in general. So just like Bootstrap would require JavaScript, but you don't use that. You use the wrapper library instead. Thank you, MB Dealer, for the 100 bits. There is most likely a wrapper library for all the JavaScript specific things that you want to do. So you should look up Vue Google Maps, and this is going to provide wrapper components that allow you to declaratively do the map thing. So this provides like a Gmap component and a Gmap marker. You can also look up like Vue Leaflet. And there are probably multiple out there. Just look at how many issues are open, how many stars do they have on GitHub, when's the last time it was updated. I mean, this one says it was updated 5 hours ago, so this is probably pretty good. But this one also provides like a map component, a tile, a marker component, and it lets you use that with Vue. So in the world of front-end frameworks, if you want to do anything that usually has its own JavaScript, try to find a wrapper library because somebody has already done the integration for you. Last one, I do have a streaming schedule. If you go to twitch.tv/codinggarden/schedule, I stream 4 days a week. My next stream is planned for Wednesday, and I thank you all for being here. This has been fun. We got a bunch of, yeah, you're welcome, Eddie. We got a bunch of follows. I'm not going to have the time to acknowledge all of these. Usually I acknowledge them in batches, but we've been pretty busy. But stick around. You will see your name in the credits if you did follow today. And thank you again to all the people that supported. We got bits, we got hosted. Let's see, we got a raid from Sika Player 2 hours ago. Thank you, Sika Player. Raid from Florin, and we got hosted or raided by Apollo GraphQL. Thank you all so much. My hair is green because this is the coding garden. Do we have a hair command? Yeah, it's the coding garden. It's green. All right, stick around for the raid. If you go to this URL, you can copy our raid message. So if you're a sub, you can do this raid message, which looks like this. And then, or if you're not a sub, you can copy this one, which looks like this. An equally nice raid message. So get your raid messages ready. I don't know who we're going to raid, but whoever we do, share the love, be nice, all that good stuff. Tune in Wednesday for Code Katas. I'll be solving algorithmic problems, which will be fun. Alrighty. Wherever you are in the world, have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night. And until next time, here is this.